Great Pill Podcast. You guys check out Great Pill Podcast.
At last.
The king's back and the throne's mine. The future's here and it's my time. Straight shot, going for the head with it. Take his head off and say that I did it. Good riddance. Say hi to the bad guy, back in business. If you took what's mine, I'm back to get it. There's nothing you can do. I'm back with vengeance. Now turn me loose. Now turn me loose.
Great Pill Podcast. You guys check out Great Pill Podcast.
Yeah, I might abuse that one for a little bit today. I just might abuse that one for a little bit today. Hey, appreciate everybody for coming on through. It's Angelus representing for the Great Pill Podcast with the guests as always. So I just want to make sure I give the shout outs and welcomes.
For those that's listening out there in the YouTube universe, shout out to Great Pill Podcast. Go holler at him. Hell yeah. Give him a like and subscribe. Go view his channel, if you will. Courtesy of Classic Lights.
For all your Spanish watchers and viewers, Telemundo, Univision, Galavisión. Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches, damas y caballeros. Por favor, suscriben, gusten y por favor compartir este canal de YouTube. Cualquier parte del mundo donde están ahorita, por favor. Familia, amigos, o socios de trabajo, lo que sea, por todo el mundo, por favor, suscriben al canal del TheGreyPillPodcast, el Pastilla Gris, por favor. Muchas gracias.
Appreciate everybody for coming on through. Hustler Mustler, appreciate you, good sir. Wally, appreciate you. Thank you. Don Teasy, appreciate you, and Happy New Year to everybody. Mary Bell, appreciate you. Thank you. So without further introductions, we're going to have a conversation. So let me go ahead and invite. Hope everybody's doing good. And let me give warm welcomes and introduce everybody else coming on through. All right, there we go. you muted, Ruby.
Yay, Wes is back. Hi, Wes.
Hey, Ruby.
I was worried about you, actually. Like, all week, I'm like, is he okay? I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I missed you all last week. It was just, it was a super busy week. As you can see, I'm in a different location now.
Oh, true. Okay, well, I'm glad you're back, really.
Yeah, now he got crazy weather in this end.
No one was hating on Canada at all. It was a really weird episode. Like, I didn't even know what to do with myself. So yeah.
Well, I can point you to some places.
Look, I'm not too far from the Canadian border. Right now it's 0 degrees where I am. I can see why you're a shut-in.
Right? Yeah, no, the thing is, it's weird because it didn't snow at all. Like in 2023, like winter 2023, the end, didn't snow for Christmas, nothing. It's only in the last, like, say 10 days, it's just been dumping on us, storm after storm, slush storms, ice storms, snowstorms. It's like, where the hell did all this like, there was nothing. It was not like a white Christmas. It looked like summer outside, like on Christmas Day. It's the only time I ever want to see snow, and there was none. But January, yeah, let's just dump on us. So
well, it's normal like that. Well, I can't speak for Wes on his part of stuff, but between on Alabama, it's like it maybe gets some chills around like November-ish time. Then we'll have like one good freeze, which actually happened today. Was shocking. And then I think 2 weeks ago, and they kept doing like a weird little off again, on again, cold, warm, rain. Now we got a little bit of freeze. So I don't know.
Yep, that's gonna be. I think it's like the whole global warming thing or whatever, climate shift, whatever you want to call it. I think that this year in particular, it's going to be, I think everyone's going to catch a little something off this winter.
Let's stay warm, everybody. That's all I can tell you. Even if it's like cold today, freezing cold, and tomorrow's like warm, wear some layers because you might. Because I heard people was getting, C-19 all over again. People catching the flu, cold.
Oh
So
yeah,
just
I'm
be
sick of shit.
yeah, just be careful because it's crazy up there.
Vitamin C and vitamin D. It'll
Oh
really
yeah,
boost
keep it boosted. Shout out to Sell You Light. He said, "What's poppin', G? Appreciate you, good sir. Appreciate you." Jay the Informant. Thank you. Appreciate you. And RT the brand. Hey, you missed it. Ruby, you wasn't here, Wes, but and it's pretty much after your bed hours anyway. So I decided to do like a second round, right? So everybody went night, and I forgot what the crap I was talking about. It was something, and Friction Vixen said, "Hey, you know what? I will come in for the conversations." Like, sure, cool. We do have designated, calculating trolls in the chat, but they're all polite for the most part. And anybody don't know RT generally says the opposite of what everybody else says. So he made a statement, and we already know rule number one is stay out the chat unless it's like actually referring to the conversation. She was so hooked on what the RT said, and RT just eating it up. And I'm like, no. Stay off the chat, ignore the chat, just stay on the conversation. Stay on the conversation. So somehow the conversation he made it to not disrespectful. He made it like a race bait, and then she just went straight into it. It's like, don't do that.
I could tell that she really cares about the chat too, because she thought I really, really was invested in what she was saying about me. So then she felt the need to explain herself, and I'm like,
yeah, then apologize. I was like, just
yeah.
let it go.
Ruby's really beautiful, honestly. And just, I'm like, I don't care, honey. You can just disagree with me. You can say Ruby's an idiot. I'm not going to care about it in 5 minutes. It's fine. So yeah, no, she's cute.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Oh, because I know earlier I hit you up. Actually, I gave two. I think I told Wes an email a while ago, hey, we're gonna be talking about this. And I was like, I'm thinking about it. And then I hit you up earlier, and then you kind of got me nervous with because and this is for the chat. I actually was gonna have a topic for today, but I figured I'll just pre-plan that one like we did with this special guest. I'm gonna pre-plan this topic and have people come on, but it might be between the two. It might be the one about, let's have a conversation about autism next week. And I was going to invite some people that actually are artistic, and we could just pretty much have a conversation because I don't understand what is a person that's been autistic, especially an adult. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
I am also Canadian, but I'm also autistic. So
yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but I only know about when I hear kids being autistic. I'm like, this is a lot. I don't know nothing about. And I don't want to harp on one person, but one person in the content creation game. I've seen a lot of this person content over years, and they never once mention also out the blue. They bring it up oh, I'm autistic too. So I'm like, and my brain is, are they using that as a weapon to gain empathy from other people? So I don't know. So I'm like, let's have a conversation one day about it. And so I can actually learn and everybody else can learn too. And then the one from today I said was, let's have a conversation about pedophilia and lolicon. Now, obviously, we know the Geppettos are, just out of sight of mind. But the lolicon situation, I didn't do a deep dive. I saw one person did a weird little deep dive, and then somehow they kind of self-expose themselves of that they overuse it and why they use it and all this other stuff, and it became very cringy. But I still didn't understand it based off of what one person was doing, and it just became very weird. So I said, let me try to understand it more. So it might be tomorrow. I might just put on the community tab for the chat, the supporters, whoever can decide on what we want to talk about for next week Tuesday. But yeah. That was a lot with the whole lolicon thing. That was a whole lot.
I told him then you got to look into fictosexuals. There's a lot in the lolicon game itself because it's a complicated. It's a gray area, and the reason why it's a gray area is because then it brings up the concept of these are just cartoon characters. So does it matter that the cartoon character is labeled 14 years old? You know what I mean? And so it starts bringing it, and because it's not, you can't prove it's hurting an actual human child or whatever, that means there's a lot of it. So then there's a lot more discussion to that than there is to Pedialyte, because Wikipedia, like it's just not arguable, right? You're going to hurt a child, children are unable to consent, blah blah blah. But when you're getting into the cartoon characters,
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, RT. Yeah, we're talking about lolicon. Something new that I came across months ago, but really didn't even invest too much time in it until like somebody either exposed themselves or just became very cringy. And far as a content creator, I pretty much stepped myself away from this person because it's like a lot before, because I don't want to like automatically like, oh, this person's a cool person. And I'm seeing some signs like, nah, it's not even right. So I figured I just learn more about it to understand it. But at the same time, just the stuff that this person went into, I don't want to go too much deep. Like it was a lot to try to say I'm a vouch for this person. Because even with jokes, like some jokes, like I take some jokes personally, like when it comes to like, the the pedophile stuff like that, like I understand it's a joke, but people also have to understand, especially here in the States. I can't speak for the outside the country. Some jokes you just can't make jokes on because people take that very seriously. And even when some people like stuff becomes serious and they double down on it, and then when the world comes down on them, they're like, "Oh man, I was joking." I'm like, how you joked, you added context, you double down on it is weird. So how about like not even joke about it all? Matter of fact, even if people give you a hypothetical, because people will like really like to label people as suspects real quick. So even if it's a hypothetical question of you, just for argument's sake, just like, yo, I'm not answering that. I refuse.
Can I answer that question by RT the brand? What's the
Sure.
difference between autistic and Asperger's?
Sure.
Okay, it's Asperger's, so it's a P, not a B. But basically, okay, so Asperger's was basically something in the DSM-4. So that's a diagnostic and statistical manual. Now we're at DSM-5, okay? And so, as our understanding of things grows and change, I'm in the psychology field, so I say our. We change the way that we label things or group things. And so autism used to be looked at as like, for example, when you have nonverbal kids, or you have say people who have really pervasive inabilities to understand or communicate socially, delays in speech, whatever people used to call that autism. And then if you just had like, you're a little maybe socially awkward, right? And you were having an issue maybe processing, understanding social rules and whatever, but it wasn't that bad. Then you had Asperger's. And so that was kind of the way that they separated it, right? But what the understanding now has come to is that whether you have autism, right, what people considered autism before, or you have Asperger's, or you have some other type of sensory social processing disorder, it's all on a continuum. And pretty much when people are differentiating between these things, they're differentiating based on how uncomfortable they are, what they're observing behaviorally, and how it's making them feel from the outside looking in. There's not that much of a difference between what the person with Asperger's or someone who's a little bit, we'll say, would need more assistance, and who is a little bit maybe more impaired or affected, right? What's happening in the brains of people, right? What they're struggling with is very similar, right? It's just your ability to mask, your ability to, in essence, fit in and look normal and make everyone else comfortable, is a little bit, for some people, is you're just better at masking. I'm better at masking than say someone who can't fake those things, right? So that's really the difference. So yeah, in a nutshell.
Okay. Fair enough. Appreciate that. All right, so we're gonna have a conversation. So one of our special red pillar guys out there was on Jubilee. So I'm glad I caught that last minute. Alphas versus beta. So they had pretty much two groups on one side, the alpha guys and the beta guys. Ask some questions. Everybody had to answer it. The usually Jubilee stuff. It was one part of the topic conversation I think we already covered. So I'm going to go ahead and skim through that when it gets to it. And then go, if we have time, and go to the next one and leave it from there. So it was a really good conversation for the most part. So let's get it cracking.
Okay.
Women, and I ideally they're not splitting chores, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I think that if a woman.
Okay, make sure I got all the stuff here. Dude, not Ruby. Wrong person. Why is Ruby popping up? Yo, what's going on here? Yo.
It's
Monkey
2024, baby.
just took over the place. Jesus.
I know, right?
I'm gonna start hating on Canadians. All right, so the question is: men are designed to want to sleep with multiple women. So I'll let Man West go, and then of course we need a woman's perspective on how things seem or played or what have you. So men are designed to want to sleep with multiple women. I'm gonna say no. Men is not designed to sleep with multiple women. I feel like it's a behavior and diverse individuals and perspective between the relationship, whether you're going for monogamy or not. So I'll leave it at that. Wes, what say ye, good sir?
Well, I'd like to understand what they mean by designed, and I guess they're going to start talking about that in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
But designed, we were intended to do that. I don't quite follow it. As a species, we have a desire to procreate. We have a desire to mate, but then again, so do females. So,
yeah.
So they're kind of putting a lot just on men there, saying only men want to do this, like women don't. How we overcome this primal state is the fact we created societies and we created civilization, and we realized, wait a minute, this does not create a functional civilization. This creates chaos. We are a creature that also loves peace. So when we started realizing that monogamy brought a lot of peace and it brought prosperity and continuance, a more proper lineage, we really like that. And as a society now, we're dealing with the fallout from not having that.
Fair enough. Ruby, you believe men are designed to want to sleep with multiple women?
Again, I think that it's the question has a lot of fallacy built into it.
Yes.
Because I think that the answer is, well, sometimes, but also so are women sometimes. And so basically my answer to that would be that human beings evolved to literally automatically develop certain types of life strategy, including sociosexual strategies, depending on the environment that they're born and raised into, to help proliferate the species and their genes. So if you are born in hardship and you are born into danger, where the chances that you're going to live are not super sure, then yeah, absolutely, men in that type of condition are going to develop sexually earlier. They're going to have a lot of sexual mates. They're going to they're going to try to procreate much earlier. They're going to create lots of offspring, and they're going to invest very little into most of that offspring. And the same goes with women, because it's kind of survival of the fittest. And the point is, you just got to pump them out, because you don't know, you could die at any moment. And there's no point in super investing into your offspring. If they can't just survive on their own in the harsh conditions, they're not likely to survive at all. You don't have resources to waste, right? So you're going to pour all your resources into creating as many children as possible, and maybe 60% of them will survive. Yay, you. That's in stark contrast to when you're born into serious safety, security. There's no stress, there's no danger. It shows in that case both men and women start developing sexually much later. They have sex with less people. They wait until later to procreate. They tend to procreate with one, maybe two people, right? And they have way less offspring, and they invest a lot into those offspring. That's both men and women. So that kind of tells you that, no, the human animal, the human brain is way smarter than me, man. Me must proliferate. We would be dead as a species.
I promise you, when I was running around like a little rabbit in high school, that was not the first thing in my head. It was like, hey, let me make as many babies as possible. It was pretty much like, hey, I don't want kids, I don't want marriage. So hey, what tools can I use to make sure I prevent for these happening?
Well, you're not thinking of that, right? Like when people talk about this kind of stuff, the stuff that's driving behavior, like it's not a conscious choice. No one's walking around at 14 years old in the hood somewhere with no food tonight to eat thinking, hey, I should have a baby at 14, right? Like that's no one's thinking that. They can barely survive. It doesn't mean though that you're not going to see a seriously increased rate of teenage pregnancy in those populations, right? And so you have to explain that disparity then, because there's a massive disparity where the impoverished, right? The people who have less, the people who are constantly in danger, who die young, whatever, that population is growing like super rapidly, right? And the wealthy population is growing in a super slow pace, right? Wealthy people have 1-2 children, right? Impoverished people have 10 children. There's a reason for that. And so when I'm explaining like the evolution, I'm explaining the underlying biological bases for our subconscious drives, not like the conscious, hey, I'm in high school, you know what I'm gonna do, I want to create 15 children before I turn 25. Like no, that's
also I'm gonna be honest too, like I mean I can't speak on that experience, so obviously I'm not rich or wealthy, but in my mind, hindsight, I'm like, hey, if I had the wealth and the fame or whatever today right now, my first thought is still would not be the fact that I can afford children. I would not make children. That to me, that doesn't register. Like I'm good where I'm at. If it just happened to be that, I'm like, okay, whoo, financially, I'm good. Morally, and then there's like a construct of, hey, raising this child and co-parenting with somebody else is like, this is work because money can't fix the other two. So, all right, back to the video. And Jay, you good, man? I know you're joking. We don't take that seriously. Logan not like 12th man and just calling people cunts for no reason.
Women.
Yeah, I would say I definitely agree that men, want to sleep with multiple women. I think it's natural because one of the things is because we have so much sperm and that we produce so much sperm, and that makes us want to repopulate the earth basically. And so a lot
okay.
At times what happens is I think that society is telling men not to do that for whatever reason, you know what I mean? And some guys fall into that, but I definitely believe that, men actually want to be with multiple women because it's just a natural thing in us. This is why you hear all the time, men always cheating and guys feel like they, trying to hide the cheating and everything like that. And if it was natural for them to just want to be with that one woman, then cheating wouldn't even be an issue. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
He said natural.
That's just not what the science says. I'm sorry. It's just not what the science says, because if you study like animals of all types, including us, right? Then what you see is that the relative amount of sperm that an animal produces per ejaculate, right, and their testes size is directly correlated not to how many women they want to sleep with, but how many men the women are sleeping with, how much competition they have for trying to impregnate that one woman, right? And so the fact that women don't show, like human women, right, don't show when they are ovulating, unlike some species, and they also don't show that they're pregnant overtly for a while. So
I don't think that was his argument, though. His argument was like more.
Right? No, his argument was wrong.
Don't correct her. She's blaming everything on women. I'm okay with this.
No, it's true. That's what I mean. He's wrong. So he thinks, oh well, that's why we have so much sperm, because we want to go around and sleep with so many women. That's how. No. The reason why, and they've proven this, right? Because species that have small testes and produce a very small amount of semen, they don't have any mate competition. As in, the women tend to be very monogamous. They'll just sleep with you. If you catch her first and you break her virginity, that's it. She's yours for life. So there's no competition, right? But in species where there's competition, a bunch of men are all sleeping with the same woman and competing to impregnate that woman, right? Those are the ones who have larger testes and produce a lot of sperm per ejaculate. So actually, the thing that he's using to try to prove his point is actually proving that in our evolutionary history, women are notoriously not monogamous. So yeah, is my point.
Okay.
So I'd like to sidebar on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
In support of the Canadian.
Right.
But one of the reasons why males are constantly producing swimmers is because it's over time they have, what do you call it? They have a sell by date. They become defective after a while. The goal is, and for both males and females, what you produce is based off of your health at that time. So the goal is to constantly have a fresh supply of healthy swimmers to, procreate with. So that's why species are constantly producing this.
Fair enough. Because in my mind, all I heard was the more you got, guys, you're validated to just keep, openly just ejaculate into women and just like, and that'd be the end of it without no responsibilities. That's what I heard thus far.
That's because they're stupid.
Yeah, they are. Also, he like the guy in the suit. I was gonna just bring it up earlier, but I figured just let them say their piece. But the guy in the blue, he's pretty much a red pillar hardcore fan of Andrew Tate. Even his link, because his link bio that they had on Jubilee, click on it, go straight to his Twitter. You click on that, and they got an actual link of Andrew Tate's new promoting website. Instead of the Hustle University, they got to call it the Tate's World or something like that. And then the guy in the middle has he has his own podcast. Plus, he links up with a bunch of the male where they have like a lot of male topics and conversations.
I think for the way we were cultured, I agree with that, but also too, just through human history, right? For survival, maybe this is old school thinking, but it's just like for survival, you need to have lots of kids. So someone's pregnant, how do you keep multiplying? You just more women, right? Not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just kind of the way. I think women even cheat too. It's like 50-50.
Yeah, I think women also want to do their thing, saying in some situations, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's just men. I think it's a natural, like I feel like because that desire is there, it's a natural thing for, if we're talking specifically men, that desire to want to do it is natural in us. So then therefore you're going to want to do it. So I don't think it's a natural thing to just be with this one woman, but at the same time, when I'm with this one woman, I only want to stay with her. It's almost like I'm lying to myself if I just want to be with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. Because again, like, I don't know. Because I said it before on both sides of the fence. You had like, not me just like, oh, I see woman. Let me go sleep with woman because woman there because I am man. I have a penis. Oh, I got to just stick it in her. That's not the way it works. Especially if we keep saying, because it's a lot of the word is here. If we're saying human society today, back then, obviously nobody was 100% aware of like how the functions work. We knew the basics. Hey, guy sits it in, ejaculating a woman, 9 out of 10 times she's gonna get pregnant. And then after that, so whatever happens. Now we have more options of like, hey, we can sleep with women, we can sleep with multiple women, but guess what? There's ways to stay safe. There's ways to be responsible about it. And it's on women and men too. So we can't just always say it's natural. Yeah, I might have the natural urge to wake up and there's a morning wood, of course, but it's not gonna be like, hey, let me go call up A, B, C, and D because it's in my nature to get with a woman. No, it's just a natural thing that happens to your body and just move on with it. When I go to work, I don't be sitting there like, oh, there's Jenny, Jane, Amy. Let me go ahead and tap that. No. Naturally, I'm not going to just be thinking about that. Naturally, if I'm at work, I'm naturally thinking about let me go ahead and get with work, deal with it, punch the hell out. My mind is on my way thinking of home. That's it. So especially if he's on the alpha male side, it's no respect to him, because part of the alpha male is pretty much about their money, their business, and how much time is valuable to them, not naturally sleeping with women. Because if you're naturally sleeping with women, then you're lacking the other things that you're supposed to be doing is be making money, networking, all that good stuff.
I mean, I think I kind of answered this earlier where I said, and it's very true, that it's actually the poverty side of humanity that's multiplying at a rapid rate and having a lot of children, right? In general, wealthy people don't tend to then multiply and have a ton of children, even though they could afford way more children. And so that tells you, therefore, that no, it's general. It's kind of like when they say, and there is actually some research behind this, when they say that it's the poor guy who wants the BBL chick, who wants to wife her up, right? And it's because when you have nothing, then and you don't have anything else, like as far as success or whatever, then you're basically relying on your looks, her looks, and her saying, oh yeah, he's got a big D and he satisfies me, or whatever, right? And part of that would also be your natural ability to knock her up. And so I think that, again, you get a lot of people who still have the poverty mindset, and they were probably raised in some level of hardship, and now they really want to make it online, and so they're jumping into what they think is going to sell for them, but they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they're taking tiny little pieces they hear from some evolutionary psychologist or whatever. I'm an evolutionary psychologist, why I find this personally offensive. And they're taking little pieces of that and then just building a whole bunch of bullshit that doesn't make any sense on top of it. So it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, with that being said, RT, if you RT says Grey Pill, it's been studied that men think about sex every 10 seconds. If you can drop that link, man, I will literally make you a mod. I will make you a mod. If you have a study actually saying that, I will make you a mod right here and now. But every 10 seconds when I was on, trust me, I wasn't thinking about having sex, bro. I was thinking about, hey, let me get the information out to Ruby. Let's have this little chop up quick conversation. Let me reach out to other people if they're more than welcome to come on the conversation. That was every 10 seconds. I was not thinking about sex. Let me get this in when me and Wes was in the back and we was waiting for Ruby for a minute, push the normal stuff that we do. Trust me, sex was not on my mind all them 10 seconds. Was not on my mind.
19 times per day. That's not every 10 seconds.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Wes, you have any thoughts on this or not? We can move on to the video.
So I think partially we're looking at the degradation of society. Now let's look at nature for a moment here. When animals are in an environment where they're feeling secure and their food is abundant, they are likely to have more offspring. But if they are in an environment where food is not very abundant, they will have less offspring. This is how things work naturally. Now, for humans, because we are not animals, we've evolved behind that. Beyond that, we're able to think through these things. So a lot of people that have figured out how to gain wealth and how to acquire resources, they apply those same principles to their family. They say, should I have 10 children and split everything amongst 10 children, my attention amongst 10 children, or should I have one or maybe two and focus everything on them to make them the best that they could possibly be and leave things to them? But on the poverty side of things, people don't think that way. They think in the moment. They're not planning ahead. They're not trying to be intelligent about it. So it's almost like they've de-evolved. But also, the Western society, this is the first time in human history where our poverty class is likely to be obese. Throughout all of human history, poor and starving was the same thing. It's diverged. So I think we're looking at a greater problem within society.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes perfect sense. But the question is that the end point? Is being with multiple women the end point? I'm of the firm belief that it is important to position yourself as a man to have the capacity to be with as many women as you possibly can and position yourself in a way where you understand female nature, you maximize your potential as a man. And that's where I don't necessarily agree that just because there's a deeper desire to continue to do it means it's going to be the most optimal thing for you and your own ability to thrive at the highest level and connect with God here on earth.
Hold on. I don't want to disrespect. If that's his plan, his goals, long as he's safe about it. But how you add that with God and at the same breath, like, yo, let me put myself in position to like have multiple chicks. Like I'm gonna be 100. Again, if I had the money or not, having casual relationship with more than one woman is a lot. Having an exclusive relationship with more than one woman is a lot. That is my opinion. It's a lot. Like it's bad enough, and Ruby's married, so I don't give a crap. Yo, if you just got all these personalities and these feelings, the emotions all over the place, and then you got to deal with another person that you got to vet out, and just all these personalities and emotions going on, it is a lot. I'd rather just deal with one person, try to work on being equally yoked and move it forward. Matter of fact, the challenge in life is just dealing with one person. Again, because we keep saying today's society, that's the challenge. How many people sit there and say, hey, because we say this all the time, hey, I don't have all these best friends. Heck, I don't even have a lot of friends. So if you got like at least 3 good friends, that's hard enough to find. So now you got to try to work yourself to find the right one, just the right one. I'm not going to be adding God into like, let me have extra multiple women, side pieces, waist. That's a lot. That's a lot. Anybody got any comments or?
I was gonna say, it's funny because you keep saying like, like I wouldn't, even if I got money or even if whatever, but like a lot of these things, like there's literally your brain develops differently if before the age of 8 years old you're raised in a certain way. So if you have a lot of hardship before the age of 8 years old, then your brain is on path A. And that's why you'll see, like, for example, people who have, like, say, children really young in the hood, whatever, and it's a rough upbringing for their eldest kid because they had that kid when they were really young. And then they wait, 7 years, 7, 8 years before marrying someone new. And then that new person in them, by the time the eldest kid is like 9, 10, they move that kid into the suburbs and whatever. And they have a whole, and, all of the young baby kids that are, under the age of 4 or whatever. And new kids are born in the suburbs, or, they move to the suburbs by the time they're 4. It's just that one kid who was 10 when she moved to the suburbs. And guess what? That 10-year-old, that unfortunately, because she was 8, 9, being raised under hardship, she's more likely to also be a teen parent, and just to repeat the cycle in essence, right? And she'd be like, well, that's crazy. She's now in the suburbs, everything's different, whatever, but it's your brain. Literally, your brain develops differently. And people don't like realize that it's like, dude, how those formative years of your kids' lives are so important. And we like to try to, as adults, we like to say, well, because I see this, or because I think this, or I feel this, or I behave this way, it's because of something right now. I'm as a man, I want to be an alpha, so da 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 da. And a lot of times, a lot of the decisions we make specifically have to do with the way our brains formed before we even hit puberty. And so when I listen to some of these guys speaking, I seriously hear the hardship. I hear how hard their lives were growing up because that's what they're telling me by telling me their viewpoints. Because even if they have money and they can spend that money and blah, 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 in their heads, right, the way that they're associating that money with a bunch of bitches and this and that and da da da, and they have no idea, no concept of even middle class reality, tells me that they grew up poor. And these were all like, subconscious wish fulfillment that they did as poor kids growing up. They wished one day they could get this money so they could have all the women. They wish they could get the Bugatti so they could have all the women, right? It's like, that's like a poor kid's dream. That's not like a rich kid's dream. I'm sorry. It's not.
All right. Well, hold on, Wes, before you go through. So RT dropped the link. So we got to validate this now. Got to validate this. This is for your wrench. This is for your wrench, RT. This is for your wrench. All right. So BBC has an article link here in
What year is that?
2014. June 17th says, how often do men really think about sex? ? So do men think about sex every 7 seconds? He said 10. Probably not. We're already losing. But rather than wonder about whether this is true. Tom Stewart asks, how on earth can you actually prove it or not? We've all been told that men think about you now for what far too often, every 7 seconds by some accounts. Again, not talking about sex. We said sex every 10 seconds. Most of us have entertained this idea I'm fucking up. Most of us have entertained this idea for long enough to be spectacle. However, rather than merely wondered about whether it is true, stop for a moment to consider how you could or how could not prove it. If we believe the stats, I don't know where my mind is at right now. If we think the stats thinking about sex every 7 seconds adds up to 514 times an hour, or approximately 7,200 times during each waking day. Dun dun dun. Is that a lot? Question mark. It sounds like a big number to me. I'd imagine it's bigger than the number of thoughts I have about anything in the day. So here's an interesting question. How is it possible to count the number of mine or anyone else's thoughts, sexually or otherwise, over the course of a day? Question mark. All right. So just on this poll, the 2 paragraphs here, plus and I'll let Ruby, because I know Ruby gonna go.
Yeah, they're referring to a 2011 study.
Yeah,
the one that said 19 times per day. They did a study in 2011 in Ohio University. That's what they're referring to in this study. And the study says, no, it's about 19 times a day for men and 10 times a day for women. So
yeah, I already knew you were gonna go on this one, but yeah. So just my basic assumption, because the question was, or the comment was, where is it? Gray pill, cap. It has been a study that men think about sex every 10 seconds. All right. So
literally not, but like they've said,
And
they thought.
Who's
go
that?
ahead.
RT is the one that keeps saying that?
Yeah.
Bro, there's something wrong with you, RT. There's something wrong with you.
Like, think about
Don't
how
ever
much
touch any of the
time that
furniture in
is.
his house.
Right, dude? 500 times an hour is a lot. You would literally never accomplish anything else because that's all you're thinking. Like, that's like it's impossible. It's so impossible. But people don't like count these things out. Like, people don't actually lay out when they just pull these random numbers out of their ass. Like, they don't actually like process that out and say, well, how many times a day is that then? How many times an hour is that? How many times do you honestly like? Do you really think that like? So you're hanging out with your grandma Saturday, and every 10 seconds, you're thinking about ass and tits. Like, what?
Remember that guy in the movie that they like? He had to put like little kind of kitten scratch mittens on his hands because he just kept trying to choke his chicken. It was like a movie, something like that.
I know what you're talking about. It's
yeah,
like 40 Days and 40 Nights. It's a British movie.
Yeah, it was something weird. Like he was just like he just kept choking the chicken. It was like, how can he stop? So he went. So they offered to cut his hands, but instead they put like the mittens on. He just kept like a little cat with mittens, just kept rubbing his hands together. It was so weird. All right, well, you tried, RT.
Yeah.
You tried. Appreciate the. It was a good fight. I ain't gonna lie. When I saw the date, I was like, he already screwed up. Because if we're talking about studies and data, if it's going back for 2015, 17, and the new studies we got today. And then just the question itself was, hey, every 10 seconds. It said every 7 seconds. Then it didn't even specific state on sex. It just say, hey, men think of women in a certain criteria every so often about certain things. And even that's not 100% true because, again, I don't think about women every 7 seconds or whatsoever. Even if it's just a physical, even if it's just like, hey, how are they doing today? It doesn't cross my mind like that. It really don't. I love to sleep. I'm a big foodie. I love my shows. Trust and believe me. In between whatever I'm doing, what I want to do, female is not on the brain.
Wait, no. Hold on. How did the goalpost move? You said men think about sex every 10 seconds. And then you presented an article that proved the research proved that men think about sex 19 times a day. And also cited the fact that men might think about women, not sex, women every 10 seconds, right?
Good man,
So,
good man, Dante's a good man.
Literally, we didn't move
You
the
can't be
goalpost.
thinking about
You moved the
stuff at
goalpost.
work.
I don't know if you're gonna keep a job if you think about that.
No, because I think what they mean, so if you think about it, right? Like, for example, if you think about if your boss is a woman and then you think, oh, I should tell my boss. That's you thinking about a woman. If your coworker is a woman, she walks by and you say
Trying to
hi,
get fired?
it came into your mind. No, because no, that's not sex, right? The first thing was not thinking about sex. Just because you thought about a woman doesn't mean you thought about sex. The idea of a woman, right? The concept of your female boss walked by, so you said hello, you just thought about her, right? And so that's what I mean when it's like there's a difference between saying I thought about women or a woman came to mind every 10 seconds. That could be in any context, including your mom, your grandma, your sister, your boss, your coworkers, your wife, because you received a text message from her, friends of yours. Like,
Okay, it's
you
like
see what I'm
it's
saying?
yeah, it's like identifying. Like, okay, this is a woman. Like right now, I'm talking to Ruby. She's a woman. So
Right. So
okay,
you're thinking about a woman, but that doesn't mean you're thinking about sex. And if every time you think about a woman, like you see my face down there in the chat and you're like, ooh, sex, there's a problem with you. Like you
yeah,
shouldn't see a woman's face and automatically think sex.
Yeah,
That's
with a
obsessive
Canadian.
and gross.
yo, yo, Wes is
Got to make
back.
up for last week.
Exactly. I feel you. It's fine.
I got you, Wes.
Can't lie, I missed you though, so it's
I
fine.
had somebody freak out because I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, and apparently somebody else that's like very disliking the space. They consider themselves Majin Buu, so the mark was on their forehead, and I had the mark of Vegeta from that little scene, and it's like, what does that mean? Are y'all like friends? I'm like, are you serious? Like, they are a fan of something, I'm a fan of something. Doesn't mean that we're like buddies and pals. Like, calm down. All right, just goes the projection is real. The projection is real. All right, sorry, T, you tried, man. We'll get them next time. We'll get them next time.
So recap what this guy said last. Something about getting closer to God.
Yeah, he was. I'll scroll it back, but he's pretty much just making a comment about sleep with multiple his goals and plans, and then he put God at the end of it. We'll get back to it.
Just want to be with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. But the question is that the end point? Is being with multiple women the end point? I'm of the firm belief that it is important to position yourself as a man to have the capacity to be with as many women as you possibly can, and position yourself in a way where you understand female nature, and you maximize your potential as a man. And that's where I don't necessarily agree that just because there's a deeper desire to continue to do it means it's going to be the most optimal thing for you and your own ability to thrive at the highest level and connect with God here on earth.
I was
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Honestly, I think he was talking about like a poly something, whatever relationship. But he put God in the context at the end of it, so I don't know.
Ruby.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. What did he say?
Well, that doesn't help, Ruby.
I know. I'm sorry. I was taking a Tylenol. My temperature went up, so I'm like, okay, just take a Tylenol and
Tylenol for your autism.
What was your question, bro?
What did he say?
So, I was trying to see if she heard it. I was trying to clarify what the guy was talking. Is he saying that having multiple women gets you closer to God? Did I mishear that?
I'll play it back for Ruby because I was lost with it too. Because like when he added God at the end of it, that's kind of like threw it off for me.
Okay, let's try this one more time.
Stay with her. It's almost like I'm lying to myself if I just want to be with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. But the question is that the end point? Is being with multiple women the end point? I'm of the firm belief that it is important to position yourself as a man to have the capacity to be with as many women as you possibly can, and position yourself in a way where you understand female nature, and you maximize your potential as a man. And that's where I don't necessarily agree that just because there's a deeper desire to continue to do it means it's going to be the most optimal thing for you and your own ability to thrive at the highest level and connect with God here on earth.
I was taught not to be with multiple women, right?
Okay.
There you go.
So, no, that was... Okay, so the thing is, he presented his point really weird. At first, he's saying you need to get yourself in that position of being with multiple women, but that's not the best thing. So
yeah, optimize yourself to get with multiple women.
He presented his point in like the wrongest way possible. You never want to see him on a debate panel.
Right? Like I can't figure out if he's Christian or Muslim because like it depends on which time he speaks, right? Because if you're going to say, well, maybe biologically, but it's not, is it the best thing for us? I don't think so. That kind of sounds like the Christian thing to say. But then when you go, I'm supposed to have 50 virgins all for me and as many as I can handle is a great, that kind of sounds Muslim-y. I'm sorry, but it's
especially when you use the words maximize.
He was not stating that that's what men are supposed to do. He wasn't stating that being with multiple women are going to get you closer to God. And that was counterproductive. But
either I'm always working on myself, but the option is going to be if I'm with somebody, I'm going to have multiple women. So that part I understood because I know you got the polygamy relationship. I understood that. If that's what he's going for, okay, great. But then when he added God at the end of it, I was like, huh? So I don't know. All right, fair enough.
But it's like, especially, I mean, here's the thing, especially when you're in a relationship, right? It's like, it's better to grow together with somebody than multiple people, which I totally agree. But I think in the dating terms, it's like, there's nothing wrong with being multiple women, because I think that's just dating. It's experimenting, it's finding other people. But are we naturally made to just always be with one person? It's like, if that were true, then these first thoughts of being with another woman, even though I'm in a committed relationship, would never occur. But it comes up once in a while. But it doesn't mean I'm acting upon it. So
It might be being generous.
That's what I was saying last time. I don't know if one of y'all was here or not here when I was making a comment saying like, look but don't touch, touch but don't taste, taste but don't swallow. When it comes to those levels of temptation, if you are in a committed, whatever it is, if it's just a sex relationship and you're not branching out to somebody else because you're secure with what you have, because that's a regular thing you're getting, or you are exclusive with one person in a relationship, whether they live with you or not living with you, engaged or married, that's just pretty much the foundation right there. Like, why? I got a buddy I know, like a brother of mine. He said, hey, he's been in a relationship like over 10 years, married, shout out to him. He was he still does it, but he was in the Army for like a few years. Then he did Border Patrol, but he's always distant. That's the point I'm trying to make. But the thing was, even though his wife was like thousands of miles away and he's where he's at working, he knew like, hey, if I walk out the door and I go to this area, I know there's a good chance I can get a girl and sleep with her. He felt that confident, but he was like, hey, why would I risk what I have at home to go out the way and just diminish stats? Like that to me, that's like the same concept with everything I just added. Like if I'm having a casual relationship with somebody else, whether it's just sex or exclusive, why am I going to waste stats? We're both good. Why would I go outside that bounds? Unless it's like, you know what? If I want to move on, let me just be honest with this person. Like, hey, I want to move on. That's the reason why. Cut ties and go from there and find somebody else. So that's the part I don't get.
So that's true. I've known guys that had a good thing, they had a family, then they risked it, and they lost it all. All they did is regret it for the rest of their lives, because it that one night of having fun affected the whole rest of their life of their child, and it's not worth it.
I agree.
And most guys actually do see this ahead of time, saying, you know what? There's a rattlesnake there. I should probably leave that alone and walk the other way. Because you see enough in the future to realize a bad idea.
Right. Multiple men, like famous ones, have recently come out in the last year or two and have spoken about this. And like Shaquille O'Neal, you think about someone like that, rich and famous, and is turning around and telling you, worst mistake of my life. Never should have done it. Like there's so many of these men who are super wealthy. They have everything. They could afford all of the most beautiful women. All of the ones that you've seen, yeah, they ran through all those girls. And their biggest mistake ever was cheating on their wives and losing them. Losing their families, where they had their children at home with them and a loving wife at home with them, and the life and just everything was beautiful, and they're the ones who threw it away. And they can't blame her for walking away, because he's the one who, he's the one who ruined his marriage vows. Like he went against that. He broke that. And there's only so many times you can expect to say sorry and be forgiven and then just repeat your misbehavior. And so you would think that they would learn from that, from these guys who are actually ultimate alphas, who really honestly are the 1% of the 1%, and learn from what they're saying. But like, they're not learning from that. They're just going to keep
that's why I got triggered.
Broke boy behavior.
That's what got triggered with Sarah's sharing her story last time. It's like she's the only person that I've heard that went beyond, and both of the parties was like, yo, let's go to therapy, let's go to the church events, let's make it official on every level. And he agreed to it, and then he cheated the first time. So okay, well, I'm giving you a pass, but you're still going to get the scolding. And you're still, when I kept doing it again, it's like, I don't know. It's the dumbest thing ever. Dumbest thing ever.
Especially when there are women out there. Here's the thing. There's women like me out there who are like, I wouldn't really care. As long as you're honest, I wouldn't care. Right? You could get yourself a woman like that, but you didn't want that woman. You wanted this woman over here who really cared about fidelity. So then you should have gotten that woman, fine, but she told you, I care about fidelity. If you cheat on me, I'm out. Right? 3 strikes and you're out. You made decisions, right? You could have chosen a woman, maybe you don't love her as much, maybe you're not as attracted to her, but hey, she'll let you cheat as much as you want, right? Maybe you should have chosen that woman then, right?
Yeah, they are out there. That's the great. They are out there. It just, again, back to the vetting and timing. But some people just want. I think for the most part, most people just want what they want, and then they'll force whatever the judgment call on that person. Doesn't matter the outcome, which is still weird.
Mm-hmm.
All right, like the video.
It's about saying once in a while, probably goes up quite a bit.
Well, it depends what kind of relationship you're in, I guess, or how good of a day it is, right? Like, but I would say for me, if it was totally natural, even though I was nurtured into only being with one woman, that these thoughts wouldn't occur then.
Right. And the thing with me, I'm not monogamous. So I have a wife, I have a girlfriend, and I still, from time to time hook up with other girls. You know what I mean? And the thing is, it feels regular to me. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to do it or doing it because I'm forcing myself. It just feels just natural, like it's something I want to do. You know what I mean? And so to not do it feels unnatural. You might just want this one woman for a relationship. I can understand that. But sexually, though, I think it's all BS.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but how long did you have to get that level? It's not like you just, like, your whole life you just had main girl, side girl, casual girl, main girl, side girl, like that. So he's actually, it's, to me, it sounds like a open marriage / relationship, whatever. So yeah, that's all the thoughts I got on that one. But I don't know, man.
Like that.
But he's, the way I'm hearing is like, is natural for me, but it doesn't mean it happens. It's for everybody else. So I think most people do the projecting, like, this is me, this is the world I see it, so therefore I know you can be that too. But the other guy that's on the far end left was like, no, not necessarily. You might have a bad day, then this is how the devil plays jokes on you. If you're into that religion, not, but then or karma comes up to test you, where you might have a bad day with your girl, then you go out the door, then there's some fine Philly just sitting there flirting with you. I'm like, that's what you think. Should I make this choice? Yes or no? So
I just don't believe him. I don't think he has a wife and a girlfriend. I just don't. I know he has a wife. And I think anything else he says is a lie to sell the dream, right? Just like how Donovan has been married to his fat older wife, right? No, and I'm not calling her like fat and older, like, because I think that's a shame. It's because he says it's a shame, right? Oh, single mother of a wife. Right. And he's been married to her legally for years, for a very long time. And he's been with her for a very long time while he was preaching the opposite. Right. I think that that's what it is. Like, oh, no, I've got a wife and a girlfriend and I still sleep with other people, because you've got time for all of that. Right. How do you have time? Explain to me, because obviously then you don't work. So that means someone else is paying your bills, which still means you're not an alpha, because there's no way you would have all this time in a day for you to maintain a marriage, right? And your children and a girlfriend, and then still have all this extra time and energy and, let's be serious, vitality, right? For you to be sleeping with a bunch of other women too. And then you have to still take care of their needs also in that way, right? Because like that's how that works. So where are you having the money? Because I'm sure you can't bring those girls back to your yard with your wife and your kids living there, right?
Easy.
And then maybe you're paying for your girlfriend's house, can't bring them there. So that means you have to have a third place. So now you're paying for like 3 separate places for you to, like, this doesn't make any sense. It
does, Ruby, because he's Batman. God damn it, he's Batman and he's Bruce Wayne. The only person who can get away with that is Batman and Bruce Wayne. Okay, they got 2 alter egos. At night, the skies light up, and he goes in costume and he just starts swelling the streets of Gotham. That's pretty much how it goes. Okay, he got Catwoman at nighttime, and he got some other chick in the daytime. That's pretty much how it goes. Okay, leave the man alone. He knows what he's doing.
And for the record, Devin looks fantastic now. She's been working on it for years, and she looked fantastic in her fake wedding video. And because she worked on it for years. But when we first spotted her a long time ago, back when he was saying he was single, and then she came up in there or whatever, and we all saw how big she really was. Yeah, he was still with her then. So just so
I'm
we're all,
not
because
paying.
I've been around for a long time. I didn't get here a few years ago. I'm
Yeah,
talking about like 8 years ago. Devin was very big. So
yeah, I'm not paying RT no attention no more. He lost his privilege.
I think a man can absolutely be head over heels in love with a woman and still sleep with other women and it not mean anything to him.
Right.
And I think all men have the proclivity to want to sleep with other women. Now, whether they're able to speak to that and actually act on that or not, or if they've been able to, like you said, like religiously find a way to work around it. And I think religion has been great for that, because if it weren't for religion, we probably would not have society. But I think what's most important to identify is that a man should create choice in his life. And if you have choice, you should be able to do as you wish, particularly like in your case, like in my case, if there's no deceit.
Exactly.
It's the lying that, in my opinion, is actually the overall problem when guys, tend to go outside of a relationship. They lie to the woman.
Right.
That's the problem.
So when
I actually agree with that. It always come back down to choice, but also understand that the outcome of the choice you make, whether it's good and bad, just try to look a little bit ahead of the choices you're going to make, and then also ask yourself, is it worth it? That's pretty much, I agree with that. Wes, you agree, disagree?
He's saying, is it worth it to seek other relationships?
Well, I'm saying, I don't know for him, but I'm saying, from what I'm hearing is he's saying like everything that he's saying right now is optional, but at the same time, like if you make the choice to go this route, also don't lie, because especially we can all agree that all women's pretty much big on the, like Ruby said it best, like, hey, do you, but don't lie. I'm good with everything else, just don't lie. So, but understand the choices you make. Like, again, you might be with a type of woman like Ruby, or you might be another type of woman like Sarah was saying, how she portrayed the other day. Like, hey, this is who I am. You go out and you disrespect me on these levels that we went so many rounds of about our marriage, what it takes, and building and growing children, all this stuff like that. And if you cross that line, I'm looking at you sus. You might get that pass, but I'm wagging a finger at you. You go again, and you still like playing the games, lies, cheats, deceits, all that crap like that, then it's like it's off. So he's saying pretty much just don't lie. If you're going to go do it, don't lie about it. If you're going to go step outside the relationship, you might as well just end it and just move on. If your woman is okay, like, hey, you know what? At least is honest with me. Okay, fine. Go do you, but be honest. Just understand the choice that you make and the outcome.
That's one thing Kevin Samuels said even way back when. For all that I disagreed with him constantly, it's the one thing he said about himself or about his prescription that I 100% agreed with.
Yeah, but that should be universal though. Like everybody should just be like on that one.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not even universal. It's not even halfway universal in Red Pill, and in the pickup artist spaces. In fact, if anything, I hear the prescription to lie to women way more often than I hear the prescription of be honest about yourself. And it's like, well, women can't handle the truth and da 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 da. Okay, but bro, if you're a man, stand 10 toes down and tell the truth about you. And then the right woman, she's the one who can handle it. So if you're sitting there and being manipulative and skulking around and whatever to trick a woman who wouldn't be down for the cause, right, to be with you, well, that's not cute. That's not you running game. That's not you being alpha. That's you just being trash. That's it. Like,
fair enough.
I was growing up, I was under the belief of just being with one woman, right? Like I was a virgin for a very long time. Then one girl broke my heart. So that caused like a lot of insecurity, resentment towards the other side, right? And then I just became like a man whore for a little bit.
The problem is
I appreciate that, because I know in weird little corner spaces where and this for me, I hear women say, oh, men never admit to this. Men never said. And I'm like, there's guys that said this all the time. Like, but only extra bonus with this, we say, hey, I was a virgin. I got with a woman. It didn't work out. She cheated on me. So I became toxic for momentarily until I woke up and said, hey, this is not the right way to be. Just because of one person did me dirty I'm not going to put the blame or fault on every woman out there.
Mhm.
So there's guys that does say it all the time. I've said it myself. I even say I've been on both sides of the fence. It's a thing. It happens. You just got to find the healthiest and best way of the process to move forward with it.
So he was in pain and seeking validation, and he just didn't know how to deal with it.
Correct.
Mhm.
Until he did.
Guys who are monogamous, but they're monogamous because they're forced to be monogamous in a way, meaning that they have no choice because they don't have the skill to attract multiple women.
And a lot of times they'll use that as virtue signaling. I would never do such a thing. Well, actually, bro, you can't.
All right.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. That was funny.
Can the disagree step forward?
I remember when I would like.
Yeah, stay your butt right there, man. Where you going? I think a lot of us we was half and half of disagreeing with most part. I'm actually shocked that I agreed to what the red pillar guy said, but it's early. We'll see.
Go on tour and things like that. My friends would always try to encourage me to like hook up with girls that were on to me, but I wasn't really like into it, and it made me feel like weird, like off, like there was something wrong with me. And now I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I'm only having sex with multiple women, so I'm not weird, so I'm quote unquote normal. I feel like even when I do have sex with these random women, it doesn't give me any gratification. And I know that comes with like random sex in the end, but I know in the back of my mind that like I just like simply don't enjoy this. Like I've been with multiple women and I've been with one woman, and being with one woman is just so peaceful. As far as like telling young men that they're born this way and that they should feel this way, it can really not do damage, but just sort of make you second guess things about yourself. Am I normal? Am I weird? Is there something off about me? Everyone else around me is saying that I have to feel this way or I have to do these things, but yet I don't feel the courage to do those things.
I would say that.
You know, they remind me of Wes. Like high school, like you're like 13, 14, you never got your virginity broken, but got like that one guy or two guys, 16, 17 got their virginity broken. Then next thing you know, they're like bragging about it. So now like you're in a crowd of 8, 5 out of 3, and then the other 3 that haven't, then they're trying to like keep to themselves, and like the pressure's built onto them, like, well, I guess I gotta have sex too because my friends is having sex, so I gotta have sex.
Exactly how high school was in the 90s. Exactly how it was. I remember people having those discussions. But for the guy that was talking, any woman that wants to be with him in any measure, that woman's probably more messed up than he is, and it is pretty messed up. The fact that he was saying that he gets no gratification out of being with, having relations with women, he has some very deep internal disturbances. I think it's interesting that he actually did point out that it is more peaceful to just be with one woman as opposed to multiple women. So at this point, I'm confused as to why he's having relations with multiple women, aside from he's seeking some sort of validation, some sort of mythical validation he's not going to get to.
Yeah, I think he was talking about his past though, like his past moving forward. Have any thoughts, Ruby, or we go to the video?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that a lot of times, like, so it's one thing you cave to peer pressure and got into this culture, this casual sex culture, because everyone else is doing it, and whatever, and it becomes a habit, right? And so I think that that's what it is. He's in the habit. This is what you do now, and so if you want to get any modicum of really emotional or physical connectedness to anyone, then this is the way you do it, because you didn't develop the social skill set for you to really either be alone or be pursuing that one woman, have a girlfriend, and learn how to balance that with the lifestyle that you're living, right? He said going on tour and stuff. So, he's probably just doing it because A, it's a habit, and B, because for an hour every night or whatever, he can pretend someone loves him, right? It's why a lot of people engage in this casual sex culture. They have no idea how to translate their need or their desires into, you know, reality. So they do the thing that's easy, which is jump on Tinder, and someone else is going to need their itch scratched just like they do, and, you know, get run through someone, and then, dude, go home and cry about it. Like, I mean, that's I think that's what it is. I think it's really sad because people are more lonely than ever, even though they have instant access right here on the phone, right? Swipe left, swipe right. It's crazy.
Fair enough.
It's not true though. I don't think that we should promote men sleep with multiple women. I think that we should promote choice.
No, nope, he's canceled. I don't want to hear anything he says anymore.
What? Why?
Literally everything he just said was sleep with lots of women. If you're a man and you're an alpha, you should sleep with lots of women. Everything he said up until this point has been advertising men should sleep with lots of women. For him to then turn around and say, at all, I don't think that we should advertise that men should sleep with lots of women. That's all you do. That is literally his entire game plan. His entire point in life is that men should sleep with lots of women and should never be faithful to women in any way, shape, or form.
I'm not going to disagree with all that, but to be fair, in this argument right here, he did say, hey, the choice and the outcome of the choices you made.
But he also said you should sleep with lots of women.
Yes, he did say that.
Right. That's he never endingly says that, and that women should endure even if they're in abusive relationships. Like, those are the two things I know him for saying. So how is he going to turn around and say, I don't think we should advertise it? Your entire PR campaign is you advertising that one thing. What are you talking about? Like, what kind of bullshit is this? What?
It's the red pill way, man. What are you talking about? It's the way.
Was right to you. So in your particular case, I would never tell you to sleep with multiple women. I think you might be doing the right thing to do exactly what you're doing and not do it or stop doing it. It's not about pushing it on the young men, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of young men that have a demon inside and maybe are really upset and frustrated with themselves because they feel a certain way. And it's like, oh, I'm coming out the closet. I'm straight, you know, or super straight or too straight or whatever it is. I think that it's really going to be about choice, man. So if me to you, I tell you, if that you don't feel good doing that, man, I wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, I agree. In your situation, what was happening, and this is what I think a lot of times what happens is you have guys who will have sex with multiple women because they're trying to fill a void. So it shouldn't be about filling a void. It should be about you actually desiring. So you don't desire to do it, so which is why you shouldn't do it. But there are guys who desire to do it, but then they're suppressing their desire, and then it's doing the same thing as you not wanting to do it. Like they feel weird about not doing it, but they want to, whereas you felt weird doing it, but you didn't want to. I think it's a...
Hold up.
That was strangely enlightened.
Yeah. He gets a point.
Man speak.
He gets a point.
You have guys who will have sex with multiple women because they're trying to fill a void. So it shouldn't be about filling a void. It should be about you actually desiring. So you don't desire to do it, so which is why you shouldn't do it. But there are guys who desire to do it, but then they're suppressing their desire, and then it's doing the same thing as you not wanting to do it. Like they feel weird about not doing it, but they want to, whereas you felt weird doing it, but you didn't want to. I think it's a society
man math.
like what you just said.
That's it. That's man math, right? Because the fact that you want to, so you have all the sex you can handle at home with your wife and with your girlfriend, apparently, right? You have all the responsibilities you can handle. I bet you have all the bills you can handle. But you desire still to sleep with whatever hot piece of tail walks by you. So even though it's putting your health at risk, it's putting your finances at risk, it's putting your whole future at risk, right? You still desire to sleep with more and more and more and more and more women. And if you can't see that that's being driven by a subconscious need, that's a hole, that's a brokenness within you, then that's man math. I'm sorry. It's like, no. If you don't really want to, well, no, you're just, if you want to and you're willing to compromise everything in your life to keep doing it, well, that's not because you just desire to because you're an alpha. That's like some bullshit. I'm sorry. Just come on.
You sound jealous.
What?
He just dropped the gem right there. He just dropped that man dropped the gem right there.
No, I thought it was actually very interesting that both of those guys made the point of, hey, if you don't want to do that, then don't do that. If you're happier just being with one woman, just be with one woman. That was actually incredibly intelligent. They were making the point that a lot of men have the desire to be with multiple women, and not doing it is destructive to themselves. Now, do I inherently agree with the philosophy of what do you call it, of constant pollination like that? No. But I did think it was very fascinating that they made the point of, hey, you do you. Don't do the things that you feel are destructive to yourself.
Well, yeah, but they're not, again, there's no need to dig deeper and try to figure out again why you would be willing to continually destroy or put at risk everything in your life for something that's really fleeting, that everybody, including them, would say is not really fulfilling. It's not fulfilling in any way to just run through random tale that you're not even connected to. And most of them will even agree that it's your connection with someone and them knowing your body like clockwork that's going to actually give you the best kind of boom end result. So there's that, but it's also the fact that you can say whatever you want because you're in front of these guys right now face to face, right? But on their shows they say, sure, you can choose to be a beta male simp, you can choose to be a beta male cuck who is only picking one woman and trying to commit to her. I mean, she's not going to do the same for you because these women will spread their legs because they're hypergamous to the highest bidder. Da 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 da. But hey, sure, if you want to be a beta male cuck, you can just choose one woman. I mean, we don't recommend it because it would just be stupid of you.
Oh yeah, they do say
sleep with
that.
30
Yeah,
women.
they'll attach that one into that. They'll attach that in there
They're
quick.
disingenuous. Like they don't mean it.
Yeah, attach that one quick. Shout to Big D, appreciate you, Uncle. I said management of expectations, not just of others' actions toward us, primarily our actions that affect every other person around us. And yarg, blue suit dude, Justified Field is a walking contradiction. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Only because it is weird because me and Ruby know the history and anything, the lingo. So yeah. Shout to Hustler said it's in our nature to desire women. To desire women.
I think it's also in our nature to desire peace, and not every man connects with that fast enough.
Correct.
Sometimes they have to destroy their peace to realize, oh crap, I am responsible for my own actions.
Correct. He says women are supposed to want one man.
Actual bullshit.
You are speaking for every woman on planet Earth.
But it's literally bullshit. You can literally prove everything in like men's sperm, your semen, your ejaculate contains in essence like a poison that would kill off other people's sperm if it comes up in there after yours. Okay. Women, and the way our species evolved proves that women have been non-monogamous for since many times in our evolutionary history. Why? Because generally women are a little bit hypergamous. When people say that, it's not about the money and stuff though, it's about being able to procreate with the best genes possible, right? And so you'll see that especially in hard times, that the woman might hook herself to someone who will take care of her and her kids, and she might also have had children with multiple really high quality gene donators, and never told the man that is taking care of her and all of her offspring, right? So I mean, like, these things happen in nature, and not just with humans. It happens in bird species, it happens in other primates, whatever. So to try to be like, oh no, it's the nature of women to only want one man. No, it's the nature of the 20th century, and wanting to control and subjugate women so that way they solve the incel problem, because that's how they did it the first time around, to pretend that women only want one man. But that's not actually, it's not what happened.
All right, fair enough. These absolutes, man, I love it. People speaking absolutes.
And then it's doing the same thing as you not wanting to do it. Like they feel weird about not doing it, but they want to, whereas you felt weird doing it, but you didn't want to.
I think it's a society thing. Like what you just said, who's making them feel guilty about not doing it? Other men. The reason, I think women and men, the question was, do you feel that men are meant to sleep with multiple women? Or they're just, that's what they do. And I don't think that's true. I think it's a part of your character, and who you are. I do believe that if you're going to be honest with your partner is into it, but do I believe that we are biologically meant and it's in our head because we have to procreate and this and that? I don't believe that. I believe the reason we do it a lot is because it's looked upon as a great thing for men to have multiple.
Yes.
Women are ashamed for that. shamed totally. I have one son and two daughters, and I know the difference of how I felt when they were 15 or in their 20s, now they were 15 versus him having multiple partners or my daughter.
So,
you know, it's crazy too. I'm glad he brought the kids in there. You know, it's crazy. As a father, like just before you get a father, right? Like that the exchange I was having with Wes about, hey, you know, the pressures of the guys got to have sex, and then let's just say we have to validate ourselves with the other guy because, hey, we got the girl number, slept with the girl, I got a hot chick on my arm, and then next thing you know, I get a kid, I get older, married wife or what have you, and then now I have a daughter. Now I'm like, oh my god, no, no. You do you see the hypocrisy in that one alone?
Mm-hmm.
So we praise each other as guys to high five. We got to get the girl like, oh, you get a number, and then now we actually have a child on that's happy to be a daughter. Like, hey, stay away from them. Stay away from them. Oh man, I don't know.
You know, the guy that was just speaking. It seems like he has a lot of his own issues. I mean, did you see that spray tan? He needs to find somebody else.
I like that guy.
And what was he doing with it? That doesn't look like it's his.
So on the suit, the blue suit.
I think he's a hippie.
Yeah, he got the little hippie vibe
that
on.
didn't look like his hair. It looks like he bought it somewhere.
Oh, that's dreads. That's dreads. That's his
I know,
little.
I know what dreads are. Those don't look like his.
No, probably not. It's a big thing right now, like white people dreads. Like even like the Reddit dreadlocks is for all races, and you're not allowed to gatekeep in the Reddit for dreadlocks. That's why we all go to the Reddit for locks. Anyway, point is,
I know what dreads are.
no,
I've
I know,
seen
but I'm
dreads.
hearing you. But let me finish. But
Okay.
it's a really huge thing right now to like for white people to be into dreadlocks, and so you have a lot of sellers like on the Reddit for dreadlocks who sell like they make and then they sell dreadlocks, and so you can attach them to your hair.
Dreads.
Yeah, so you can if they're fake dreads, right?
Fake
And so
dreads,
you can
fake tan.
and though instant locking, which will make your hair look equally like fake dreads, in that way is also really popular with straight-haired people. So it might actually be a mix of some of his hair is instant locked, which looks unnatural and weird, and then some of it might be purchased locks to add to the fullness and the stylized.
I don't know. I listen. I'm hearing you, and that's a real thing. That's a real thing, Rue. But our teacher kind of took me back. He said Milli Vanilli. So they had their little locks. It looked just that pretty. So I don't know. I'm on the fence.
I'll send you some instant locks. They look weird at first.
That's probably. I know Melody King had those too. She had like the wig kind of. It looked so similar. Man, I want to be petty. Fighting the feeling.
Yeah, those are faux locks too. I mean, I used to wear faux locks all the time, so I can't even say anything. So that's what I did.
Fair enough. All right. My bad, Wes, because we pretty much cut you off and jumped or something. Do you want to finish your thoughts?
Sorry. Wes? I know. I'm sorry. I'm sick.
Oh, good. So he did bring up a good point. How you feel about your sons being this way, and how you feel about your daughters being this way, having multiple partners. I did lose train of thought there because he was bringing up. Oh, he was saying that it's other men encouraging this. You're in the wrong friend group. I do not have a friend group of men that are encouraging me to constantly seek out and, find other women. No, most of the males that I would call friends, they're very monogamous and dedicated to their families. So he's probably had the wrong friend group when he was younger, and he never developed a good friend group.
Fair enough. Good support around you is happens all the time. All right. I'm sorry. I apologize. Just a petty moment right here. Just a petty moment. So
bring out the petty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So this is Melanie King's lock. So this is what we're talking about because I know these are fake.
No.
Hers looks really good.
I'll send it.
Like if that's all fake, that's high quality fake.
Yeah, this is high quality. So we got the other guy. Let me bring the other guy back.
The high quality fakes, just like her tits.
Bruh. I apologize. I'm going to say Mrs. King. Put some respect on your name because I'm just doing a comparison. All right. So, that's hers. So let's bring back him again. Yeah, that look like high quality.
No, No, like when he turns his head down.
Okay.
Look at that. Oh, you just missed it.
I'm gonna play it.
When he get close up of his head, when he just tips his head down, right here.
Okay.
Check it out. It looks like it.
No. Because on the side, nope.
Looks like a doormat.
Okay, because on the side of his head, like it's
Looks like
the
he
side of the
bought it
shade.
from Walmart, cut it up, and just pasted it on.
Hold on, I'm gonna show you. Okay, look on his left side, right? Look like the side of his head is shaved, like a nice little fade, and then everything else is like grew on top. And
nothing's growing there though. It looks like
and
a
he could be Native American. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that out there. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Or
this guy is related to Rachel Dolezal. I guarantee it.
Are we saying he's the painted white man? Is he's doing blackface, Indian face? Hold on, my bad.
It looks like a really bad spray tan.
Ruby sent me something, so let me go ahead and share this out. All right, appreciate it, Ruby.
You know, I bet he's Canadian.
Jesus Christ.
He's not actually.
You mess with the wrong two people, man, because Ruby do some quick deep diving like on an instant. We'll find it out. We will find it out. Okay, so all right, so this is what Ruby is showing. Oh, that look good.
Yeah, so see those like they sell straight hair.
Yeah, but this looks good though. Like if you focus, that looks.
Oh, okay, you talking about the branches at the bottom of the hair, like how versus his? Like look like it's kind of grown.
This looks like it's all tight. If that's all fake dreads, it looks very well tied into actual hair.
No, see, but it's like it's not right. I think the part of the thing is right is that straight hair looks terrible locked to me. It tends to look pretty bad locked, and especially nowadays where you have instant locks, right? And that's where I was going to show you. So these are fake, these are faux dreads. These are when people who have straight hair go and buy straight hair locks online, right? Which is different than when you see someone do the rip and tear method of when you have straight hair to try to start locks and go on a lock journey is very different. It's not, people don't like it. Let me put it that way. People don't like it. It doesn't look good. And so that your reaction actually makes it more likely that it's real than not.
All I heard right now to the chat, trust no one. Trust no one. All right, back to the video. Let's see what the chat got to say. I also said thanks pretty much for the lightning, Ruby, for Hustler Much. Appreciate you. Like your avatar, Hustler Musler. Big D said that guy reminds me of the Crying Indian. Crying Indian was a fraud. He was Italian, laughing out loud. You can Google that old history. Okay. Justin Waller is a top. Yeah, I fell for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Lame Dude says it's just in the male DNA to seek multiple partners. Use that as a cop out and excuse to have any willingness to exhibit any self control. I agree, because again, we can't. All the men all agreed thus far. We're talking about society today and the structure of the society that we have right now. So again, we can't keep going back to like 100 years ago or back when the caveman was around, because that was a whole different time. We are supposed to be in a society of culture, right? Of a society of know how to act and behave with one another. Yes, it may be one police officer and it might be 500 us in the town, but guess what? We have to police and structure ourselves for the most part. Okay, so there's that, and most people get triggered mostly. Those type of different alpha male that if you say decontrol, it's like, oh my God. So it's a crying shame if you say that out loud. So we'll get back to the video to Wes's new friend. Oh, sorry.
It's looked upon as that we are biologically meant, and it's in our head because we have to procreate and this and that. I don't believe that. I believe the reason we do it a lot is because it's it's looked upon as a great thing for men to have multiple women. Women are ashamed for that. Shamed totally. I have one son and two daughters, and I know the difference of how I felt when they were 15 or in their 20s, now they were 15 versus him having multiple partners or my daughter.
So if I could struck a check for $1 million and never feel that feeling again, I absolutely would. I really, really would. It's something that I really hated myself for, and I felt very apart. I grew up in the South Louisiana. It was a Bible Belt, and I felt very distant from people around me because I had this urge in me and could not understand why I was so different. Like the biggest self-hate I've ever felt in my life is over this particular subject. I thought I was broken.
And I understand.
So he had the urge of being horny. That's what we're saying. He had the urge of being horny.
Pretty much.
I really hated myself for, and I felt very
shamed totally. I have one son and two daughters, and I know the difference of how I felt when they were 15 or in their 20s, now they were 15 versus him having multiple partners or my daughter.
So if I could struck a check for $1 million and never feel that feeling again, I absolutely would. I really, really would. It's something that I really hated myself for, and I felt very apart. I grew up in the South Louisiana. It was a Bible Belt, and I felt very distant from people around me because I had this urge in me and could not understand why I was so different. Like the biggest self-hate I've ever felt in my life is over this particular subject. I thought I was broken.
And I understand.
Wow, my man said he hated himself because he was horny all the time.
Well, okay. So let me clarify that a little because I understand
Please.
him. I might understand him better. That is a thing. When you grow up in a very strict Christian household, a very strict Christian church, fundamentalist, they will demonize that from the beginning. They tell you that your first sin is being born, essentially, when you do the math. So as he's growing up and he's being taught all these things, being taught that sexuality and sexual urges are inherently evil, because that's what they talk about. That's one of the problems in the more fundamentalist Christian churches is when two people finally get together and they decide to have a family, a guy and a girl, they don't know how to talk about what to do in the bedroom. They don't know how to actually be vulnerable and share themselves with each other, and it causes a lot of confusion. So he's dealing with the confusion of no one actually talking to him about his urges and how he's developing growing up. He's just told that feeling this way is evil, feeling anything other than this is evil. And I think it's very psychologically damaging to young people. So he actually found a different way of dealing with it. And that's just that he kind of left religion and he's just kind of accepted this thing about himself and he does it all he wants. The problem is I don't think he's ever quite evolved to understand why in organized religion that became a superior social skill set, because it built families, and perhaps in his area they just were way too strict on just demonizing and all this fire and brimstone stuff as opposed to trying to nurture the soul.
Most people that goes to the stream, like they come up like the quote unquote Bible thumpers, then they go, when most kids grow up, they be just extreme the opposite. Like I see a lot of that too. All right, back to the video.
Well, I think
Go ahead, I'm
also
sorry.
a lot of fundamentalist Christian religions teach that boys, right, or men are born with this insatiable drive to have sex, and it's women that tempt them, right? So if you show your shoulder like I'm doing now, and that gets him hard, that is my fault. I am a temptress. I am a terrible person. I am a hoe, right?
You succubus, you.
Yeah. So what ends up happening though, right, is obviously everyone's keeping their daughters very locked down, hiding them at home, can't show nothing, da 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 da. And so when these guys, it's almost like they are whipped into a frenzy almost to be obsessed with sex, but then they're not allowed to touch themselves or they're going to hell. They're not allowed to touch anyone else. They're going to hell. Da, da, da. They end up doing terrible things, right? Like we saw this with Josh Duggar, right? Assaulting most of his sisters. And then what ends up happening is they talk to the daughters and they tell the daughters that the daughters are terrible people for having tempted their brother, right? They send their brother away for a couple of months, not even really to punish him, right? Because it's not really his fault. He's just a man. There's nothing you can do. And then, they just bring him back into the fold, and if he assaults more of his sisters, right? And so it's really sad because even if you're not from the like extreme fundamentalists, right, to an extent you kind of see that in Christianity, right, where you're blaming the women are called Jezebels and this and that and whatever, and it's not really like the men's fault, and they latch themselves onto that idea. So I think that makes a lot of these kids who are raised in these Bible Belt kind of households really confused and kind of really screwed up in a lot of ways, because no one is teaching them anything healthy, and then they're also banning sex ed and that type of stuff from school, so the kids can't
Yeah.
ask any healthy questions, just even to understand, hey, listen, if your D gets hard, that's not a sin that you've got to repent for, bro, and no, your palms aren't going to grow hair if you jerk it, and like it's just like those little things, they don't ever get that education. So
And even if they had, because I remember they had, like, we had a gym coach, but he wasn't qualified to even have those type of conversations. You were just like, hey, here's condom, safe sex, and I would just like end of it. Or I'm not going to engage with the conversation. We're going to be here 20 minutes, read a book, whatever, and then that was it. That's pretty much was like my elementary, most of high school. High school, I just figured out on my own, and then most of the adults that I can trust, I had conversations with them. Honestly, I was actually lucky because the women that I was actually surrounding myself in high school, those are the ones like, yo, you better have a condom on. Disease is real. And they were just throwing stuff at me. I'm like, crap, I got to learn this. So I actually got really lucky with that. So
there's some truth to what there is some truth to women being overly temptations, but there's also truth to males not developing healthy. But then again, females in a very fundamentalist Christian upbringing also do not develop in a healthy manner. It's very destructive, especially when you're getting these urges and these urges feel good and you don't know what to do with them, and then you're told that this is evil. Now you're associating a good feeling with an evil self-doubt, and it's like a cancer. You don't know how it's going to grow. But teaching that, dealing with that in a more healthier manner of not demonizing and say, hey, it's actually kind of normal. Most people handle these things in private. Also, being respectful of boundaries. Now, a lot of these women, these Jezebels, a lot of young females realize that they do have a lot of power over men sexually, and they will utilize that. But also, there's a lot of women. There's a difference between dressing comfortably and dressing overtly sexually.
Correct.
Women are intentionally doing that. As men, we do have instincts and urges. We do our best to keep control of it. But if you see when a woman is intentionally trying to tempt a man, the man is going to be tempted. So I'm not going to give women a free pass for walking around wearing practically nothing in pretty much any public event they feel like it.
Yeah, but responsibility goes on both ends, right? So I agree.
Yes.
Women should be very careful what she dress and wear, depending where she's going. Also, if she's purposely going on her way to do that to get said attention, then yeah, there's some kind of onus on her. But also the guy that approaching her, knowing full well this might be the quote unquote bait, so he got to have some kind of some conscious awareness of that too.
Yeah, but see, the problem is, right, it's a very slippery slope, and this is actually where the slut walk came from in Toronto. Is because prior to that, right, it was always, oh, well, you got raped. What were you wearing? Excuse me? It doesn't matter what I was wearing, and it doesn't actually, right?
What wearing and what
it
were
doesn't
they
matter
doing?
it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Nobody asked the person who got mugged, really? What were you wearing? Right? Where were you? right? Like no one asks those questions. It's the only crime that can happen to the victim, and the victim starts getting blamed for the crime happening to them. It doesn't matter what I was wearing. It doesn't. Because it doesn't matter even if you thought, oh, that was sexy looking, even if it turned you on or whatever, right? That doesn't give you license to commit a crime against me, right? But the problem is that's literally what was happening. And I'm saying like in the 90s. I'm not even talking about like, oh, in the 50s or something. I'm talking about in the 90s, right? That's the very first. What were you wearing? Oh yeah, were you drinking? Oh, like no. Like that's not an acceptable thing. So the slippery slope of that is, right, that again, if someone looks at me right now and decides that they want to sleep with me and I don't want to sleep with them, right? It is not my fault that they thought I was sexually attractive. And it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. It doesn't matter if I'm showing my shoulder skin or not. It doesn't matter if I'm showing my ankles or my calves or my thighs. It doesn't actually matter, right? It's not a justification for you taking something from someone, for you literally forcing yourself onto someone and committing a crime against them bodily. There's just no like putting that together. And that's where the slut walk actually came from, specifically. Not forget whatever Amber Rose is doing 10 years later, right? I'm saying in the 90s, right? It was literally over a minor being assaulted, right? And then that was what it was. Well, we're not going to prosecute. We're not even going to investigate because what were you wearing? Right. And that's a problem. Right. And so the problem is that you start getting into that slippery slope where if it's like, well, I mean, come on, if she was wearing a bikini, well, it depends. Was she wearing a bikini on the beach or was it in a bar? And if she was wearing a bikini on a bar, so what? What does that have to do with someone literally committing a crime, forcibly entering them, forcibly touching them when they said no? Like that has nothing. One should have nothing to do with the other. And we need to stop conflating those things because they actually.
That's true, because there's women that's like could be fully dressed on and guy be like, I want her, I'm going after her just because.
Yeah.
So I think you're conflating two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you're down in Florida and you see a pond and that pond has a sign that says danger, there's alligators, and then you go swimming in that pond, not a lot of people are going to feel very sorry for you. However, if people have the ability to rescue you and get you to a hospital, they'll do that and get you better. Still, no one's going to feel very sorry for you. Now, the reason why, and if a grape happens and there is no investigation, that is wrong, okay? Regardless of how it occurred. But the reason why people ask, well, what were you wearing? Where were you? Is because they're trying to figure out, is this what you were trying to do? Because there actually are women that are messed up that way and they're seeking that attention. Or there are women that will go and specifically toy with the man's heart and they'll constantly do that. And eventually they'll get one that doesn't let go. Most men do let go. I mean, we're not trying to make, not all men are the same. I'm not making a broad swath of all men are the exact same way. Good men exist to protect society against bad men.
Sorry, respectfully, but no, that's not at all what they're asking because they'll tell you what the follow-up is, right? Which is, what were you wearing? And then what did you expect? It's
That's
very simple. Question. Everyone has made it very clear that if I was wearing something, if I have a couple drinks in my system and I'm wearing a mini skirt and a shirt that shows cleavage, then I should expect that if someone assaults me, then that's the equivalent of me. I'm at a party. I'm at a club. It doesn't matter. Because it doesn't actually matter. Because
no
one cares. No, hold on.
It does matter. Hold on. You interrupted me.
No, you stop talking. You're literally interrupting me in the middle of a sentence. You can at least let me get to the end of the sentence. Now, the thing is that regardless of any other factor, if I'm wearing clothing, right? And then someone decides that they think I'm attractive and then they decide that it's okay for them to forcibly touch me or do anything else to me against my will without my consent, it is not equivalent. It is not equivalent to there being a sign saying, caution, alligators don't swim in here, and then me jumping in and swimming in there anyway. It's just not equivalent at all. It's not even remotely equivalent.
Well, it's about personal responsibility. You're going into a danger zone, a place where you know danger does exist, and you're putting yourself in a situation by accepting drinks from men, and then dressing scantily, you have put yourself in a dangerous situation and made it worse.
So you say the same thing to people who've been mugged,
So
right?
I'm not saying that the cops shouldn't investigate, but you shouldn't be surprised.
So again, do you
If
say the
you
same thing
jump
to
in
people who've been mugged?
shark and infested waters, you should not be
Do
surprised
you say
as
the
to what
same thing
happens.
to people who have been mugged?
When you
I didn't think so.
put yourself
Okay.
in a dangerous situation, you should not be surprised that something dangerous has occurred.
So you don't say the same thing to people who've been mugged? To stores that get robbed? To banks that get robbed? Do you say the same thing to them?
Hold on, I got a question. So we'll leave the bank and the robberies out front, but we're keeping our grape and mugging, right? So if you're saying the argument is, hey, I'll play into that. Not go into the sign that says danger, shark might bite you. But what about the places like actual classy social events? Okay, women get raped there too. What about public malls? Women get raped there too. What about parking lots with the lights on it? Women get mugged and raped there too. What about sometimes home invasions? Women get mugged and raped there too.
I'm not defending any of those actions. I'm not defending it. Okay? I'm making the point that if you are knowingly putting yourself in a dangerous situation, you should not be surprised that something dangerous has occurred.
Yeah, but I think
so there's levels to this.
No, I'm with you the levels, but I think Ruby's side is saying it shouldn't matter. Yeah,
There's a difference between a 1 in 100 odd and a 1 in 10 odd. Are you increasing the odds of where something dangerous is going to happen to you?
Again, you haven't answered the question. You keep saying, "Well, I'm trying to." No, I literally asked. So does that?
There always exists in a dangerous situations always do exist. But are you doing things to increase that danger, or are you doing things to lower that danger?
Right. Do you say the same thing to people who have been mugged? It's very simple.
Why not?
Do you?
Why not?
No, see, the answer is actually no. That's why you won't answer it. Because you don't say the same thing to people who've been mugged.
Because why are we talking? What? Okay. Did they put themselves in a more dangerous situation? I'm making the point.
You don't ask that question.
Did you put yourself in a more? Okay. Did you put yourself in a more? There's a big difference between being mugged and losing your wallet, and then getting raped. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. Okay. Now we're talking about. Now we're talking about
the huge
not just the level of danger if something happened, but the level of offense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the level of. There's a big difference between having your wallet stolen and getting raped.
Right, and since the majority of times, and here's the thing, the majority of times, both of these crimes actually very similar, right? You are innocently walking around living
I would
your
like to
life.
respond to
You are
Gerald here.
innocently walking around living your life. Someone spots you from down the road and sees that you have something they want. And so they come and they decide they're going to take it from you. Now, any mugger would tell you that they're using things that you're wearing. Like if you were wearing watches, you're wearing jewelry, if your clothing looks like it's clean cut and whatever, so you probably got money, whatever, they're using signs of what you're wearing to decide whether or not you would be someone worth mugging. So again, do you then say, well, dude, what were you wearing? Like you went outside of your house wearing clothing that costs like more than $20? What were you expecting? Right? You weren't protecting yourself. You should never wear anything that is gold or silver outdoors. Well, you're wearing those expensive shoes outside. Why didn't you expect to get mugged? Right? You should have expected. Like, what else were you thinking? What else were you thinking? What, you were driving a BMW outside? What else did you expect to happen? Of course they mugged you. Of course they did. It is your fault for wearing these clothing and announcing to the world that you have money to steal. You should have worn something that proves that you're poor, and then no one would have stolen you. You should have been driving your 1989 Pinto. No one would have robbed you.
All right. So we can move on. So because Wes said he had a response.
So, Gerald, if you want to,
yeah, I got you.
Highlight the last response there. There is no. I'm not excusing it. At no point am I excusing the behavior. At no point am I excusing the crime. I have stated several times it should not happen and it should be investigated. I am not excusing it, but there is a level of personal responsibility that people need to understand for themselves. If it's negative 30 degrees outside, put some warm clothes on.
There's no
There's a
actual.
level of
See, the
danger
thing. There's no
associated.
actual correlation. Do the
Will
actual
you
research.
stop
There's no
interrupting me,
actual
please?
correlation. There's
Ruby,
actually not.
stop. You've
Yeah, no, I'm
interrupted me
telling
enough
you, there's no
times.
actual
You have
correlation from some
interrupted me
research.
enough times, Ruby.
Mhm.
Please stop.
Okay, sorry. Continue.
It's level of personal responsibility.
Mhm.
Okay. Anytime you go walk around outside, yeah, there is a chance that someone's going to attack you. Are you increasing those odds or are you lowering those odds? Are you living in a very crime-ridden city, where in a bad neighborhood where you are choosing to walk at night, where you have a higher odds of being mugged? Okay, it shouldn't happen, but should you be surprised? And in those areas, how well can the cops respond? Not well. It's a bad area. They're overstretched. Are you making it easier to be a victim, or are you making it harder to be a victim? If you're in Florida and you see a pond with gators in it, is it intelligent to jump in? No, it's not. And back to the first point. If you're going to a club where you know bad things do occur, and then you are dressing like a prostitute, drinking like a fish, should you be surprised that something bad has occurred? No, you shouldn't be. You have made it very easy to be a victim. I'm not excusing it. It should not happen. What I'm acknowledging within society is that we cannot magically freaking snap your fingers and stop these things from happening. We cannot magically snap your fingers and suddenly the cops know everything going on. We do not have a department of pre-crime. There is a level of personal responsibility to protect yourself and not put yourself in dangerous situations.
All right, just be fair. So you're done now? Hold on, Ruby. So you're done. Let Ruby talk, and then we'll get to the video. And
Well,
then
I have to. People keep thinking, like, I don't know why. This is a constant problem between males and females. We're not trying to justify it. We're not trying to explain it away. But there are levels of personal responsibility.
Okay.
Hey, how about a child falling into a swimming pool? That's the parent's fault. Plain and simple. Levels of personal responsibility.
I'm going to blame that cute baby. That baby should know better. All that water there. All right, Ruby, you get the retort. There, and this is going to be it. Then we're going to go straight to the video. All right, Ruby, you got it.
All right. So it's very simple. Again, it comes down to number one. If anyone ever bothered to do the research, which no one does, right? They would recognize that there's actually no correlation between wearing slut gear and being drunk, and getting sexually assaulted. Now, the problem is that because people tend to use statistics solely on college campuses, where again, in general, in college campuses, that's what college kids are doing 7 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. So because of that, that gives people an incredibly incorrect picture of the greater scape of SA and GRAPE, right? And so again, there's literally, other than people trying to justify themselves and trying to justify their crime, there's no connection between women wearing particularly sexual or seductive gear, or being in particularly large states of inebriation, whether it's drugs or alcohol, and being SA'd or being raped. There's no connection between these two things. This is why I brought up the original point that no, that's an incredibly slippery slope, because when someone decides that my shoulder is now me being extra inviting, right? When someone decides that me having a glass of wine at lunch with everybody else, we just all had a glass of wine or a sip of champagne, is, well, I've put myself into a compromising position, even though I'm in a business suit. When people decide that me wearing a business suit, but I'm showing my knees instead of it going straight to the floor. See, this is the problem, is people keep baby stepping the issue, and no one recognizes that, hey, guess what? People who are 100% covered, who aren't wearing anything that's tight, who aren't doing anything in any way, shape, or form to invite sexuality, except for existing as a woman or a girl, that's enough. That is actually enough. It has nothing to do. As soon as people recognize, right, that SA, but more importantly, Grape, right? That these things have nothing to do with sexual attraction and everything to do with power dynamics, everything to do with you wanting to look at, first of all, you dehumanize someone, you make them into an object, and then you want to use that object in some way, right? Once you recognize that has nothing to do with SA, has nothing to do with, well, now that he's been turned on, what else was he going to do? It has nothing to do with that. And once people recognize it has nothing to do with that, once people actually look at the actual statistics, right, then you start recognizing, oh, wait, no, it has nothing to do with what she was wearing. It has nothing to do with if she had a couple drinks or not. And no, there isn't a heightened amount of time like, well, hey, if you just stopped drinking and didn't wear mini skirts and didn't go to parties, well, then you'd be fine. Nope. There's actually no correlation between these two things, right? And so the amount of women who have been SA'd or who have been raped and have done none of those things, right, is actually way larger than the amount of women who were wearing the mini skirts and drinking at clubs and whatever, right? But either way, everyone goes fishing, trying to figure out, well, were you wearing, how short was your skirt? Oh, you were wearing pants? Well, how tight were those pants? Oh, yeah. Well, were you showing cleavage? Oh, well, were you drunk? Well, were you acting drunk? Were you acting flirty? Did you ever flirt with this guy? Did you? Like it gets to the point where you have to recognize that no, none of these things, first of all, have anything to do with the power and control and dominance and violation, right? This is not sexually attracted people and, well, he just didn't help himself, he was just so sexually attracted. Nope, that's not what's actually happening here. And we need to stop trying to teach people this idea that her clothing mattered, because it doesn't matter at all. And the more that we try to go back to that old narrative that we've broken, the more that actually things become very dangerous, not just for girls and women, but for children, for even for vulnerable men as well. So
all right, fair enough.
Taken drastically out of context. Even can I get some
no.
here?
We're gonna make it clear. We're gonna make this clear now. We're gonna move on. Wes is making it very clear. We're all making it clear. Wes is not condoning the behavior. That's just number one. Okay. If somebody says something, my bad, Juju. Appreciate you, Juju. Appreciate you, Jasmine. Jasmine, is Tree streaming tonight? Because she's supposed to be having like a 101 with Andrew Crucible tomorrow. I know that's gonna be fire, so I'm definitely gonna be waiting for that one. I'm off, so it's gonna be good. You said I need to rewind this because I'm confused. You can go back. I'm pretty much going to clip this whole thing because this was a whole side conversation. We're reviewing the alpha versus betas. The conversation reacting to Jubilee. A little bit came up. It was pretty much just going like making a point of contention with something else, and then it blossomed to a whole other conversation. So I personally allowed it just for the Discord. So that's pretty much what it is. Appreciate Dane from Can I Do Better? Can I Get Some podcast? Dame is back active on the channel. Finally, about bloody time. Wait for the invite, sir. Wait for the invite. Actually, I actually like to be a chat person in Dame's channel because some people say some stuff, and I'm right there as a straight keyboard warrior. So I'm actually appreciating that Dame is back active. I think it was Mondays, but I seen him switch to like a Tuesday and a Wednesday. Dame says the way a woman dresses has nothing to do with SA. Most SA is done with someone the victims knows. As long as the women are walking around with a vagina, they can be subject to SA. I agree. We all agree.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we all agree. X-Ray says RT stop acting like meta. So about hey, you go ahead and take it handle RT. I'm not even gonna engage with that one. What else?
That's actually a funny response. Sorry.
RTV on it. RTV on it. Promote. How many channels you got, lady? Jesus Christ. This is Mr. He Said and She Said from the sets. Because I know he has a channel, she has a channel, they has a channel together. So I'm guessing this is like another one. I'm so confused how many channels. I actually thought about your guys earlier today when I was watching your stream, like a great concept toward your shaman. I think Mrs. She Says does a shaman Sundays. So I like a great little concept idea with your channel. I'll shoot it to y'all. You're more than welcome to use it. You can say, screw you, Grey Pills, all good. She says, what's good, GP? Salute to the chat panel. Salute y'all. Welcome. Mrs. The Seds. And what else? Uncle, we need to wake up and up another 30%. Okay, same channel, different name. Okay, cool. I get so confused because people have these different avatars that change the names. Like
Mhm.
I don't even try to keep up. They've been doing it so much on the gaming community. A person will pop up like his name could be Plaid Pill, and then 2 years later, I know for Plaid Pill for 2 years he'll change his name, call himself Rex, and I'm like, hey, you don't remember me? No, just out of the
Right.
blue. Yeah,
No, when Wes came into my chat, I had no idea. I was like, "Is it Wes?" I'm not sure. I clicked on it and I'm looking. I'm like, "I think it's Wes, but I'm not sure. Is that?"
that's what I'm saying. That's what threw me off last time because Wes was like, "Oh, Great Pill, you don't see my avatar," and I'm like, "Bro, it literally throws me off because you're not the one." Yeah,
Yeah, that.
it throws me off. It so throws me off. I don't even look at the name. I look at the avatar, and somebody say something. I'm like, "Who that guy?" So, my bad, Wes. My bad. Most people in the streets very active. We just know who they are and their behavior. So, yeah, Cellulite's another one too. I knew him from a way across
Actually,
other space.
Ruby's the only one that's ever been on this channel that actually knows my original pseudonym.
Do I?
Yeah.
Really?
You know me as two different people now, and we've argued both times.
Probably. That makes sense. That sounds a lot like me.
Just think back in all your YouTube days, like who came on and really hated on Canadians and was successful at it.
I'm notorious for debating people on panels.
It was back when you were still
I had
classic.
when you wasn't here one time, Wes. I literally I
classic
had
TV,
a plan for you. I was going to bring on all Canadians on the panel.
That would have been a blast, man. We would have been shitting on each other all night. It would have been awesome.
Just have a whole gaggle of Canadians just rat on the panel, and just West say one thing, and they're gonna like all Canadians merge together on West. That would be so cool.
Seriously.
You know?
I'm actually promoting some kind of virtual violence, but I ain't gonna lie, that'd be funny.
Think about it, because I feel like, and I've said that before. I'm like, I feel like I've seen you before, but I don't know where, and I don't.
Yeah,
know
he would just
what
pop up.
context.
Yeah, he would just like if it was a conversation, he would just pop up, be in the panel, wait his time to speak. He pretty much Marcus did the same thing West did, and it just pop up on the panel for a casual conversation, and then they'll just exit out, and then he'll pop up somewhere else for a casual conversation, and that was West's thing. He still does it. Mark could just be on everywhere, but Mark had just always been that polite, casual guy, and that's how I knew both of them. You know what I'm saying? But Mark had just always been very scary patient. Like he'll be on like 4-6 hour panels, and they could be talking about rubbish, and then somebody like, "Hey, Marcus, got a time to speak," and then he'll say his little piece, and then boom, back out.
I get my fix here. Doing this once a week, I get I get what I need out of it but I get that we're able to exchange that energy. But on some of those other panels where it's not moderated very well, especially if it's primarily like there's several times I was on Lapeef, I'd be on there for a couple hours. Nobody wanted to hear what the white guy said until finally one guy's like, "Hey, what's this white guy thinking?" But I would also mess with them too because I constantly would change my name to just kind of here or random white dude. So I was getting people's attention. Like, who is this guy?
Oh, I love that.
Well,
like
mine is the melanin on my part, but I remember I was on somebody's panel and I was just saying like you went, just be there, wait for my turn. The only reason they'll be attracted to me to even engage was because of the logo for me. So they'll see all the pills, and then they're like, so the chat first goes and says, "What is Grey Pill?" That's the first thing they say. And then the panel will like, "So what's your opinion?" Then they'll ask like, "Hey, but before you give your opinion on the actual topic discussion, what is the Grey Pill? I don't know what that means." I'm like, okay, here we go. And that's it. Never fails. I forgot what her name is, but she was actually also on the Lapeef. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't remember her name, but I remember the icon. Somehow her channel popped up in my algorithm, and it was like a really good conversation. So I was engaged in the conversation. She same thing, like, "Who are you? What's this about?" And I just explained it to her, and I just moved on. So, yep, we're closing out West because we're pretty much conversation is done.
Yeah.
But
and for the record, I want to apologize to everyone in the chat and also Wes. because when I'm sick, I have less of an ability to like control my impulses and also to control my ignorancy. Like it's not on purpose. I just get a little more snappy and a little bit more like I want to stab everybody just a little bit. But I've been sick the last like few weeks, so I apologize because like I'm sure like the whole entire I stopped talking so you could finish, but I know I had the whole active bitch face
Resting Canadian
attitude.
face.
I don't know. I get like this when I'm sick though, so I apologize because it's not on purpose. And yeah, I was thinking that earlier with someone I responded to. I'm like, I was an asshole there. I probably should. and Wes, yeah. So I apologize. I'm sick. That's why. I still
okay.
love y'all.
He understands you're Canadian.
Friends. That's what I like. That's why I like about this public square is, regardless of how much we can disagree with each other or how much we get angry, we still do our best to talk things out, and we don't have to agree to disagree. I think this is the dumbest thing ever. We just move on and don't care because it's not the biggest thing in our lives.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
true.
We're teaching people. I want people to come to YouTube and see, hey, people can have conversations and still be cool with each other. Like Canadians and Americans still be somewhat like friendly with each other.
It's hard, right? But we work on it.
I know, but we're really working on trying to accept you on our continent.
I said, I'm divesting. I've been called. I didn't even know I'm divesting. There's a lot. I'm seeing more and more Canadians out there. I'm like, I'm divesting. But it's so weird. Other people have like a good percentage of Canadians on their platform, and they'll just like make little jokes like West, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know there was a lot of Canadians." It's like, yeah. They rolling deep now. It ain't Californians, it ain't New Yorkers. I'm seeing a lot of Canadians just popping.
Canadians are trapped in their houses like 8 months out of the year. They got nothing to do but fool around on YouTube.
Dude, I honestly wouldn't see any Canadian people, whatever. It's literally only in the last year. Like an American's the one who told me about Abba and Preach. And other than Abba and Preach, I didn't know
they was Canadian. Yeah, I didn't know they was Canadians either until they actually said it. Well, matter of fact, they didn't even say it. They just said where they was living at in this certain area. I was like, oh, Canada. Okay, cool. And that was it.
But like other than that, it's only once I pushed all of the Manosphere and Red Pill, like I literally cleaned my algorithm out. None of that stuff gets suggested to me anymore. Although this random woman got suggested to me, which told me that Obsidian is in a war with a woman, which I didn't really think he would be because he has a girlfriend now. But apparently, he had that girlfriend for the last like 15 years. So
yeah, there's rumors of Anton and his wife supposed to be getting divorced, but I don't know if that's confirmed. That was just rumors.
Either.
Yeah,
Anton Daniels.
Yeah, that was rumor. So far, it's a rumor. I don't care neither. I'm just telling her because me and her
hosting a 24-hour freaking live stream of people just arguing with each other.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he ended that some time ago. The last of Fight Club ended, so there's no more Fight Club.
Just spreading hatred and discontent amongst the populace. I don't like that.
That's what they want. They want division because that's what gets them paid. That's where people keep coming back to them, right? They want the division. I can't stand it.
Of course, you throw money out to the hate watchers. Well, hate watchers throw money out to you.
I just realized something, guys. Mm-hmm. Holy crap! You ever go to like Home Depot or Lowe's, like in the paint section? They got like those little panels. We look like the panels.
I thought you were gonna say I sniffed. I thought you were gonna say that you. I got a lot. She's laughing. I think it's corny as hell. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I didn't catch it. It's corny.
I think a lot of it is funny right now.
Panels. When you're looking at the different shades.
Yeah. No, I'm seeing it. I actually see it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're saying you're the unfinished part of the wall?
No, it's
on
like
the white part of the wall. Then we have like the off-white.
I thought he said. I thought he was gonna say he's gonna sniff paint.
Like what are they called? Swatches. What is switch swatches? Paint swatch. I don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
So you get the different. So you can get the samples of the colors. No,
I'm processing the corny joke now.
No, I fully got it. I don't know, man. Well, when you're sick and you could like certain things you watch, and you're like, yo, this is great. But if you were like healthy, it wouldn't be great. That's where I'm at right now. So I'm good with that. That was my level of funny right now. Thank you.
No, you need to keep working on materials, and then one day Cat Williams will talk about you and throw you in the bus too. There you go.
I just want to be. I I just want Cat Williams to hate on me. Can we do a stream on Cat Williams, please? Because I will say everything about that I think he's wrong and he has BPD, because I honestly do. And then he can make me famous because
I'm
he
fine
just
with
mentioned
that.
you and suddenly you have 1 million followers. You know
For
what I
some
mean?
reason, I don't know if anybody ever, because I'm a fan of the 90 Day Fiance, except for the last two. See, I just stopped watching it. But the original cast member, for some reason, I got a disdain for a certain cast member. So anything pops up on my Instagram, I'm like responding to them. So one cast member in particular, she actually engaged with me. It's crazy. She goes by the name of Chantal, or the family of
Oh, the family
Chantal.
Chantal. The family
Yeah,
Chantal.
I don't like her. Like, I think she's like the perfect example of the actual red pill talk about. She's a perfect example. And her and the guy got a divorce. So she made a video on her. Yeah, it's like over a year ago now, because everything happens in a year for them. They schedule it. So they got a divorce. He asked for it. They got a divorce. Her and the family did this whole crazy fiasco or whatever. And then on her Instagram reel, she does this face like, yeah, you want me, or something like that, or like how I move forward, or some weird stuff. And I commented in there, I said, the day you signed divorce papers, you are single and you're literally for the streets. Everybody started clicking hard on it. And then she actually liked the comment that I made. And I was like, okay. Then I screenshot it and put it on TikTok and the Instagram reel. And I said, and I put my comment up there. I said, anytime, even the little messed up face she had, she like had the little like crying or whatever, fake tears. And I put it up there and I tagged her sister, the brother, the mother, tagged the whole family, even 9 Day Fiance, the show, tagged them. I said, yo, anytime you feel like you want to talk to me like an adult about your insecurities, let's go. Anytime. I'm happy with it. So
I mean, I think she's all right. Listen, I feel like actually, other than her family, which are a whole ass nightmare.
Her mom is the worst.
No, her mom by far is the worst, but I hate her brother also. Her dad, I feel, would be actually a normal, rational person.
No, he's a cuck.
Like,
No, I'm sorry. That's a cuck.
right? So his
That's
wife,
a cuck.
that's what I mean. So like his wife makes him terrible, but if he didn't have the wife, he'd be fine. The brother is like the mother. But Chantal, I feel like actually she really loved this dude. She liked the dude. She really saw forever with him. Like I was actually about that relationship, but I knew it wasn't going to work because the family is just so.
It's 9 Day
racist and
Fiance
ignorant.
season
Like,
1. Start with season 1. Yeah. It's
I don't
like
watch that nonsense.
Yeah, it's 90. It's like the new one is where now she's like they got the single life where she's out single. It is so disgusting, bro. So disgusting. She brought the people she brought with, the stuff she was saying, but just the last season of the family Chantal, that's the main one because that's between about them. So disgusting, but that would be that was something I would do.
All of their seasons.
I would so debate with you about that one, Rue, because that girl's got like even beginning she lied to the family. She lied to the family. Got the foreigner, got with them. She was the male version of the passport bro. She went to the Dominican Republic, met the guy, claimed like, hey, mutual friends hooked us up to meet up. They fell in love, fair enough. They got together. The next thing you know, boom. She lied to the family because the family didn't know. They said, hey, we got this much limited time because it's on the visa to get married, like less than a week. Mm-hmm. So now the mother and the father like, yo, what is going on? And they still put it on the guy. And she planned the whole thing. Now,
yeah, but see, this is the problem, right? Is that she planned the whole thing. She told them she planned the whole thing, but that's their only daughter and whatever. And they're very racist, right? Now, again, they're Black people being racist against Dominican people, right? So culturist, but racist. They're racist people. And like even when the way that they acted when they went down to go see Pedro's mom and family and whatever, the way that they behaved when they were there was the most disgusting display I've ever seen in my life.
Hold on, we'll finish this. Let's
sorry.
Let West bow
anything.
Let West bow gracefully because it's like, yo, y'all stupid right now.
I know. Let's
West,
go.
West, final thoughts on the conversation, good sir, and glad everything's going good with you, and hope the weather get better on your end because that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as always, people learn how to just listen to other people, learn how to communicate with each other, learn how it's not that big of a deal in the end. For hundreds of years, people communicated just fine. within the past half a generation, we forgot it. Have those communications. And I think for what little we were able to get to the video, once you get to one extreme, it's just the opposite of the other extreme. They're mirror images. So find a way to accept yourself, love yourself, be happy with yourself, and then you're not interested in spreading your seed so much, because then you find someone that brings you peace, and you just want that peace is more important to you than some short term here and there.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, my final thoughts. First is that and it just keeps popping into my mind for some reason, but there's a really famous it girl, very beautiful woman who got HIV, didn't know she had HIV until like it turned into AIDS, and she was like damn near dying. But she slept with like name every star. She slept with all of them, right? Because that's what ends up happening in the industry, right? Is like there's only going to be so many women who are that level of attractiveness who also would be down to be run through in that way for gifts and whatever. No matter what the red pill tells you, most women are actually not about that life. And so all those people ran through this woman who had HIV. Most of them do not wear condoms. So right, the amount of risk that they put their lives into, who knows how many of them have HIV right now, right? The amount of risk they put on their lives, on their children's lives, their families' lives, their finances. I mean, just the risk is astronomical, right? Which you should be able to, as a person who doesn't have millions and millions or $500 million or whatever, you should be able to sit back and be like, God damn, you know what? That 60,000 I make a year is barely enough to get paycheck to paycheck. So the last thing I want to do is then have astronomical medical bills, a prescription I need to buy monthly to survive, so on and so forth. I do not have it within me to want to risk my health, my future, 18 years, whatever it is, right? And then you need to recognize a couple things. Is most of the guys who are peddling this bullshit to you don't live these lives, okay? Don't even believe what they're saying, because they don't live the lives. And most of the people who are telling you that in order to be an alpha this, in order to be an alpha that, and blah, 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 guess what? They know that they're talking to a bunch of underage, so 16 to 24-year-old boys who don't have a lot of social experience, but might have some access to cash that they can pay them, and they can manipulate these guys. Okay. Also, key to let you know is that a lot of the incels that have gone on to shoot up places and then take their own lives were in these spaces listening to this rhetoric. Some of them were even decent looking guys. Some of them even paid the thousands of dollars for the in-person courses and whatever. I will post later, because I was watching one on Dire Trip of this guy, and like he was like, they have the video of him at the course and everything. He was an okay looking guy, and yet he couldn't get any play and whatever, and no one told him that, hey, like, you know what, just on a social level, if you just learn how to kind of socialize with people and not be so doom and gloom and not be so negative minded and have some confidence, right? The day before or something that he ended up doing his shooting spree, he had a date, right?
Whoa.
He couldn't close the deal, right? He couldn't get there. And the reason why is because these spaces aren't teaching you anything of value. What they are teaching you, though, is that there's no hope. There's no this, there's no that. So when you can't get a date, when a woman says no, when you get the date, but she doesn't sleep with you immediately, they're just peddling all this information that's telling you, well, that's how the modern woman is. She's never going to give it up to a guy like you. You're going to have, and so they're literally peddling you hopelessness. Okay. Even a guy who was married ended up taking his own life, because again, they're just peddling hopelessness at you, so that way you have a reason to keep coming back to them to get that validation that the hopelessness is not your fault, so you can keep paying them money. That's all that it really comes down to. We need to recognize that that's what these narratives are about, because I know we didn't like the hippie guy with the dreads, but he's been very happily married for multiple decades. He has multiple children, and them people love that man. Okay. He feels so loved, so supported, and he's very sexually satisfied. Okay. And he has no issues, no qualms, no nothing. You can call him beta, you can call him whatever you want. He doesn't care. He's fully satisfied by his beautiful wife and his beautiful children. And he doesn't care about y'all, right? Because that's an alpha. Okay. Someone who's just gonna do their own thing live to the beat of their own drum, don't care. That is an alpha, right? But like, they're not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you he's a beta cuck, right? Even though all of these guys over there, most of them are single. Most of them, some of them, let's be real, are up on charges, hiding from different countries. And I'm not just talking about Andrew Tate. I'm talking about the guy who assaulted women in Asia, who was on the same show as the guy in the blue suit. Blue suit was fighting him though. Yeah, the guy, he has brown hair. I know that, and he was also up against Satan Center at one point. And he's the one who said, "Endure. You've got to endure all that assault." Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that guy was a bunch of like he's hiding from I think it's the Philippines or something because he assaulted women there. Like, dude, these are not role models. Okay,
I so need somebody.
Creators.
I so need the information on that because somebody asked me about that, and it's a anti-passport guy. I brought it up, but I couldn't find anything. He said if I find anything to send it to him, he'll actually discuss that for his conversation on his platform.
I'll look through and I'll send it to you. And Uncle Fatty brought up the last point I was going to make, because it actually is connected to the debate we were having earlier. And I wasn't trying to say that Wes was trying to say it was okay. I was saying it's a slippery slope because it is. But part of the issue actually is that and I don't like the way feminists say this when they're like, well, instead of teaching women that they should wear longer clothes, whatever, why don't you teach men not to rape or whatever? But I don't like the way that they're saying that, but there is something to be said for we need to teach way more men about their, how health, like it's totally healthy. This is totally natural. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. Like no fap and all of that manipulates guys, right? The thing that's making these guys who aren't super popular and kind of feminine looking dress up as women now. Like, I mean, all of these things, like, it's like if you were to just let's actually talk to these young men, right? We're on the left, right? So that means that we're more open about stuff we're supposed to be. So let's care about men. Let's carve out a space for young boys and men to teach them that your urges are okay, your desires are okay. These are totally normal, natural things. Hey, jerking off, totally normal, natural thing to do. Hey, you know what? Only having one sexual partner in your lifetime and that's your wife, totally normal, natural thing to do. Hey, you know what you need to do when you go to college? Socialize with people because that's what's going to help you get a woman, not sitting and being bitter watching YouTube and whatever, right? So until you have a space that's really teaching these young men about themselves and about just like, it's okay for you to just be you. You don't have to be an alpha and do this and that and be a high value man or you're nothing and nope. The majority of married people don't fall into that category, right? And the majority of marriages that are long and successful, guess what? It's not because he's alpha and he could afford to pay her to stop it. Not true at all. And we need to stop having that. That's the only message that there is for men. It's either the red pill, right, the conservatives, or the left that tells all men that masculinity is toxic and that men are toxic, men are terrible, men are a danger, men need to learn how to be more like women, right? Like that's what the left is telling. So we need more variety and I think more support and more care for young men and for boys, because what's happening to them is just tragic in this society. And I don't mean just here in North America, I also mean in Asia, Europe, other places. So
all right, fair enough. Drop Wes. Thank you, Wes. Appreciate you. And Ruby too, because she's a little bit under the weather, so just get some vitamin C and all that good stuff. Whatever Canada offers you, my lady. Okay.
We have vitamin C. Why y'all acting like we're not on the same
I am rebinging Game of Thrones, so I am on the my lady, speak language or whatever the crap you want to call it. So y'all have a good night. Thank you. And I will figure out between the two topics for next week. It might be lolicon and pedophilia. And what was the other one?
Autism. Something about to do with
autism. Thank you. Autism.
I would love to talk about the autism thing because it's all one thing that happens with autistic people is we'll replay social situations in our head over and over and over again. And so the chick who came up in here then told me I was tacky for mentioning my autism when it wasn't super pervasive and obvious to an outsider looking in. And then told me something about weaponizing my neurodivergence, despite the fact that she was weaponizing her neurodivergence and I never did. I just mentioned it in passing to explain why it was that I was failing to recognize someone's face, Mandrell's face, in a completely different context because my brain has an issue doing that. So I just mentioned this because I'm autistic. And then all of that. And I've still to this day, sometimes that hyper focuses and like my mind will just replay it over and over and over again socially in my head. So I would love to talk about the autism.
Yeah. Then all right. So
Personally.
there you go.
But I like the lolicon one too. So we could just do that all.
Yeah, no, we'll dip through that because I was, like I said, I was trying to understand and learn more about it. I just know a little bit of the children, but just the adults would have it. So that's what I want to learn. So we'll have that conversation next week, Tuesday. So I will be doing my networking to reach out to other people that has it or have children that have it, and we can have that conversation. Yeah, we'll have the conversation, the derail for autism for next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Anything for tomorrow will be random, just like always. Three things. We'll be working on a new banner, new intro. The intro will present myself, Ruby West. Also, I will have because everybody keep asking about what is the Gray Pill podcast. I figured the banner actually says itself, how the conversation goes. I think it's cringy, but screw it, whatever's in it. I actually put like an ideal of what the quote unquote Gray Pills, which pretty much should be self-explanatory, free thinkers, open-minded perspective, great areas of conversation. So I'll work on that. And also I'll be working on, topics for debates. Okay. All right. So with that being said, Ruby, feel better. Wes, appreciate you for coming on through.
Grey Pill Podcast. You guys check out Grey Pill Podcast.
Yeah.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.